What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday, February 18th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Was checking out the glory here in our StreamYard chat, which is a little different than our YouTube chat. And we had Truth Teller in early, as well as the community of new knowledge who cashed Hornets plus 5, 4-0 run for the community of new knowledge's action. Great work. That's the cash me out pick of the day. We got Ryan Kozlowski ready to get to work. Billy Friedrich. Ryan Kozlowski says, WTF is the Dallas-Chicago game juiced to the under. Look, it was plus 100. It was plus 100 when I had the opportunity to bet the over. It's now minus 105 where I shop. I couldn't believe my eyes. I didn't get it. I couldn't get it. Yeah, so I've made 3 bets in NHL. We have Bobano joining us, so we're going to break down all 4 NHL games, all 16 NCAA basketball games. We are on All-Star break in NBA. But I couldn't believe my eyes there. Also, I want to bet the Minnesota Wild to bounce back against the Panthers, but it hurt me against the Hurricanes. I also, if the Wild win, I don't see why that under 6.5 wouldn't be in business. That's at plus 110. And the Wild opened up at plus 100. I wondered if money would move on Florida. I expected money to move on Florida. Then Minnesota was plus 110 as of 15 minutes ago. Now it's back to plus 105. So we'll talk all that out. I'm not sure if I will move on that. We'll talk it out. We'll talk it out together. All right. And Ryan Kozlowski says Saturday as NCAA basketball is a job in itself. Yes, Saturday is very dangerous. Saturday, I will be focusing on the skills contest in NBA. I'll be drinking heavily and betting that live. Henry Dice, Jay Peasy in the house. Bon Kui ready to get to work. And beat over 31.5 points, 76ers to win, plus 400. Give me that. I got in on the Sixers live at plus 8.5 and again at plus 11.5. Felt very good, but it was not a great day. I went 2-1. I shouldn't say I went 2-1 in college basketball. We had great college basketball capping from both Connor, Mack, and Noli Knows. I lost the South Alabama, Coastal Carolina under. I mean, it looked like it was going to be an easy casher. They scored about 55 points or 50 points in the first half, but I guess that's not right. They scored 59 points in the first half. They scored 80 in the second half. Cash Long Beach State, CSUN under 138.5 that Noli gave out, and cash the Portland -2 that C-Mac gave out. Those were both really beautiful spots, but just still can't get right in NHL. And this was a really bad night. The Pitt Toronto over. I didn't pull the trigger on the Leafs, and I talked about it. I didn't. The Blues -1.5 lost. Pitt Toronto over 6 lost. Rangers -1 lost. Ugly. Columbus Chicago over 6 was very easy. Capitals -1 was fortunate. The Sharks first period I was so confident in didn't cash, but then they came right back in that game. They played pretty well. And then the Sabres -1 was a mistake. There's Dan Kelly. Nut Flush Allen in the house. Nut Flush Allen, another great day. Adurl went 2-0, and Omicron with his first loss of the campaign. It will be interesting to see how Omicron handles this. Will it be a time for reflection for Omicron? Who knows? We'll see. Tyrone Coleman in the house. B-Ball 619. Waking up early on the West Coast. B-Ball, my guy, in San Diego. Mike M, serious business, ready to eat. Nasty Nate in the house. Can't wait to party with Nasty Nate in San Antonio. By the way, a bunch of stuff we're adding to the schedule. And one is a XXX comedy show on Sunday night. XXX stand-up comedy show on Sunday night. And it is very XXX, meaning we're going to have this open to the public. Like, it won't just be the cappers. I mean, I'm sure we'll all be there, but I'll tell you, it is so XXX that I guarantee that we have walkouts. I guarantee walkouts. Guarantee walkouts at our XXX show, not from us, but from the public who just comes in and thinks, oh, a fun comedy show. I like jokes. Sammy Comer locked in Canes in regulation and the Stars over 5.5. Great. I'm right with you, Sammy. That's 2 of my 3 bets. I've only made 3 bets today. I'm right there with you. Danny Lopez, Christopher Comentini says, Nuck saved me. I'm glad that they did. Top Shelf Play says, I like that under in the Wild. Well, do you think it gets bet to 7? I mean, I'm curious to see what the market does. I guess I should have moved at the plus 110, and I did not for the Wild. I wonder what you guys think of that. Mike M says, what a finish for the NBA last night. All big trends cashed. Hornets, Sixers, and Mavs. Now the long all-star break figures. There's razor sharp picks. It is Cash It Friday. Cash It Friday today. I'm still in a battle trying to get a house here, to rent a house in Toronto. It's more difficult than I was led to believe. And I'm trying to get the family out of Parkdale. So I've got a couple houses I've got to look. I've got to take the family out there. I'm juggling a few things. And I'm going to do my best to make it because I've had 2 big shows in a row on Cash It Fridays with the boys. And I would love to be there. But tonight, 7 p.m., Cash It Fridays, my favorite show of the week. Billy Friedrich, NBA All-Star Game, said at 320.5. Thoughts? Look, I've watched people bet like large sums of money on unders in the All-Star Game, and I think it's the most ludicrous bet that there is. There's no defense played. But look, I don't want to sit there. I don't want to have a bet on the total. But I do want to have a bet on the 3-point contest and the dunk contest. There's been big market moves. I was following bet on, some books didn't have the dunk contest out. I was following Bet Online's market move. They had Jalen Green bet down to 140 last night. This morning, up to 180. So money came in on Obi Toppin. Now, Obi Toppin and Jalen Green are both at plus 180. Bon Kui GPZ says, damn it, I want the Wild. I'm coming out of NHL retirement. Oh, JPZ. Look at Slatsy. God, it keeps rolling. Nice night in NHL. 6-3 plus 3.75 units. Shout out to North Ender for the play on the Hawks. Jackets. Both teams scored in the first. Yeah, we talked about that. A plus 155. And he's on the Stars, over in the Stars. Wild as a dog at home. I'm in. Canesman McCarr also. Okay, well, that gives me more confidence. Danny Lopez says Long Beach State is just rolling. There's TJ in the house. TJ in the house. Oh, man. TJ overseas right now, and we love him. We can't get into more detail than that, but we love him dearly. And there he is watching the show. Dan Kelly says FanDuel has odds boost on Hurricanes, Stars, and Golden Knights, all to win plus 400. Probably paying plus 320. That's a nice boost, but I don't know hockey. Well, I worry about the Golden Knights, man. I don't know if I worry enough to back the Kings. We'll break that down with Bobano, but I certainly worry about the Golden Knights. The Hurricanes and the Stars, I'm already on. Hurricanes and Stars, I'm already on. Top Shelf had Bucks first quarter, and Giannis over 29.5. Yeah, Sammy Comer had Nucks in regulation. A goal with 19:59, 1 second left. Mark Schillingberg in the house. Billy Friedrich tailed Omicron. Oh, just to play cooler on it. Billy. I can't wait till Omicron hears that. Ron Crawford called him Omiclown. Enough said, Jimmy, I watched every minute of their last Wild game, and they had tons of shots. They should have found the back of the net. Don't know how many hit the pipes. I see goals tonight. Car Life of Von Polo in the house. We got Tiffany H., Dennis Garcia, Dav Fenn. Says you need a great night in NHL. Can't wait for Preds Canes talk. Someone's got to win. Viper laughing at the under in the All-Star game. It's ridiculous. Who's playing the 3-point contest? We'll go over all that because it sounds like the Say Hey play of the day will include the Saturday skills contest. And he's running real hot, so I'm looking forward to hear what he has to say. Community and new knowledge. We gave you a big shout out at the beginning of the show. Car Life of VP 76ers money line was fire. And Mike M says Eichel's back and his time in purgatory. I mean, Buffalo's over. All players leave Buffalo and smash. Nobody's come back from this injury before. I can't wait to talk about that game because they have 2 second overall picks that they've taken huge risks on. It is possible. Now, it's a little different now with Nolan Patrick and with Jack Eichel because if these players don't come through, they'll be on long-term injury anyway, so it'll be off the books and insurance will cover the contract. So maybe it's not as big of a risk, but we'll see. Halsey, 74, ready to go. Troy Torrance is only interested in NCAA hoops. When does that discussion start? It starts 4 games. We're going to talk 4 games in the NHL, so it probably starts in 20 minutes. We're going to break down all 16 games on the NCAA card. There's North Ender in the house. Slatsy said, Jimmy, last time you, me, and Sammy Coleman were on the same sides. We were 3-0. We're just missing turns. You were cashing, boys. There's Chief in the house. All right, so it is time to attack. Shout out to the Taint Play of the Day. Taint Play of the Day cashed. We got to 175 likes in a cash UMKC North Dakota over. Taint has sent me action. So we have a Taint Play of the Day. It's ready to pop out. We'll pop that out when we're capping NCAA basketball. There's Ski Profits is leading you guys leading on you guys for some action while NBA is away. That's a true gambler right there. Our guy Ski, a prophet. All right. I'm very, very, very excited about this. Those of you who rolled with me for a long time know that Bobano and I used to once a week attack the entire card together. And we are back in action. And this is not just a one-time thing. You can now catch Bobano here on Betting with the Bag every Friday, capping the whole card with me. He's just down the road. About 45 minutes, depending on traffic. You can get there in 45 minutes or you can get there in 3 hours, depending on traffic. Just down the QEW. It is time to bring out an old friend of the show whom we haven't seen in a long time, Hamilton, Ontario's finest. Please welcome Ian Cameron to the show. Bobano, great to see you.
Good to be with you, Jimmy. It's been too long. Good to be back on Betting with the Bag, and good to see everyone in the chat, including Ski Prophet. Ski, I don't know how you feel. I feel weird there's no NBA Pub Hub today. You know, we've been doing that show every single weekday now for months, and to have no NBA today is strange. It's odd, but that's all right. We still got NHL. We still got college basketball, and we've got the Pub-a-Palooza next month in San Antonio. I'm looking forward to that. I'm starting to round the, itinerary and the plans into form for that. I mean, that's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of great events planned, and not just all those great events, Spurs, Grizzlies, Top Golf, Valero Open, barbecue lunch, all that great stuff. Brewery, that's right up my alley, a brewery event. That's for damn sure. But there's also, San Antonio is going to be hopping, at that time when we're in town, because the NCAA tournament, the South Regional, is taking place in San Antonio as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Don't you dare miss it. If you're on the fence thinking of coming down, make sure you make the right decision and join us.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm barely leaving the apartment. I'm just waiting for San Antonio. And, man, we pop off right away. I get there a couple days early. I get there on the 22nd. And it's Teese, his 50th birthday. Right off the hop, Mr. Gogster and I get off the plane, and we celebrate Teese's 50th birthday. I'm very, very, very excited about the whole thing. And hope everybody can come roll with us. But, Bono, I'm having a tough year in NHL, man. I'm having a bad week. I need to get out of it. I've got 3 bets already locked in. I'm interested in 2 more, and I'm very excited about capping the card with you. Michael Anderson says, anyone invited to Pub-a-Palooza? You're damn right. Anyone and everyone is invited to Pub-a-Palooza and Southtown 101's where we're going to be every night. We're going to be at some games in between, but yes. J.A. says, I'm coming, man. I'm only 18, though. Well, are you allowed in bars under 20? You're allowed in. You just can't drink, right? Yeah, man, it's all good. It's all good. Who needs sauce? Well, Bobano and I do. But you can still have a good time without it. All right, let's get to work.
Bet the over number of days I'll be drinking at Southtown 101 when I'm in town, yes.
Yeah, it's not the days that I will be drinking in a row that concern me, because that's easy. It's when I come back. It's when you drank for 14 straight days, and then you have to just stop.
Yeah,
and be a father again. That's what I'm worried about.
And it hits you like a stone at the same time. Yeah.
All right, let's get to work. But I'm very excited about this. We start with the National Hockey League 4 games. Then we're going to break down all 16 games in the NCAA basketball card. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. Nashville Predators 28-17-4, 14-8-4 on the road. At Carolina Hurricanes 32-11-4, 16-4-2 at home. PNC Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina. I already moved last night on these Carolina Hurricanes. I took the -1 at I got -110, money line -170, puck line at +145. If I wanted it right now, it's the exact same price. So there's been no movement there. Carolina opening up at -163 at Pinnacle. They're now sitting at -168, but they're as high as -186 over at Sports Interaction. Saros Anderson. Anderson has had a very good season, but I still don't trust him when push comes to shove. And I hated being on the Hurricanes against the Panthers, when the market had moved towards the Panthers and the Hurricanes were up 2-1, and the Panthers with Sammy Reinhart scored with about 45 seconds left, and then Ekblad won at 16 seconds in overtime. I still think he gets frazzled, but he's 25-7-2, 2.07 goals against average, 928 save percentage with 2 shutouts. UC Saros has been great, 24-14-3, 2.45 goals against average, 924 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Nashville power play at 24.3%. It's been much better than I expected it to. We always know that Roman Josi is good to go, but it's been Johansson and Duchesne who've really stepped up and had good seasons when I did not expect them to. Penalty killing at 80.6. Carolina special teams is excellent. Brendan Moore's a hell of a coach. Their power play at 24.1%. Penalty killing at 89.8%. Nashville comes off their third straight loss, 4-1 at home versus the Capitals on Tuesday night. Is this a market correction? I did not believe they were as good as their record indicates, and now they've lost 3 straight. They've lost all 3 games since coming back from the All-Star break, 2 of them by 3-goal deficits. They're the most penalized team in the NHL. It's not exact. I don't want to fade a team that's angry with a good coach like John Hines. It's lost 3 straight. That makes me a little nervous. But the Hurricanes are a better team, and they've lost 4 of 5. And I think that Brendan Moore's going to be right in their face. This is a must-win situation. Pittsburgh and the Rangers breathing down their neck in the Met. And Anthony DeAngelo continues to play spectacular hockey. Got picked up for nothing because of his character issues with the Rangers. He has 39 points through 40 games. And Bobano, it just came out yesterday. That's the second highest in franchise history, only topped by Mark Howe, Gordy's son, with 47 points in 1980-81 for the Hartford Whalers, who then became the Carolina Hurricanes. Bobano, take it away, Preds, Canes.
So there's not a single soul that follows hockey, bets hockey, that I do shows with regarding hockey, the ice guys, whatever the case, that doesn't think Nashville is going to flatline here in the second half of the season. Everybody is in the same boat. Nashville's going to regress. Nashville's not going to be able to do what they did in the first half of the season, and I'm in agreement with that. Look, I was one of the people that was ready to admit, I was wrong about Nashville coming into the season. I honestly thought they'd be closer to the bottom of the basement in the Western Conference in the NHL. But to see them play as well as they had early on, it's been impressive. They've seen resurgent seasons from Ryan Johansson and Matt Duchesne. Philip Forsberg's going to continue to do what he does, be productive, be consistent. They've gotten a little bit of an infusion of life from Tanner Jeannot this year, who's been good. Eli Tolvanen as well, showed you a lot and what he can bring to the table moving forward. But you can see this team now since the All-Star break, and you're going to see teams like this where they're struggling going into the break, and they come out of the break and they're a different team, kind of like Edmonton, although the coaching change helped that as well. And then you got teams like Nashville who were playing well, good hockey going into the break. And now coming out of the break, they've not been able to find their game. They just haven't. 3 straight losses since the All-Star break for this team. Their defense has all of a sudden struggled, and UC Saros has struggled. He was a big part of why Nashville was playing well in the first half. He's fighting the puck a little bit more. You see they've given up 4, 5, and 4 in terms of goals against in the 3 games since the All-Star break. And when you and I always know you're prepared, rattling off the stats, Jimmy, every game we break down, and you were great job with that, talking about the special teams with these 2 teams. Carolina, the number 1 penalty kill in the NHL right now. And Nashville's penalty kill has been nothing short of horrific in the last few games. They have been dreadful with the penalty kill, and they have been bad because they've been taking a lot of penalties. Nashville's one of the top teams in the NHL in terms of most penalties taken. They've been very undisciplined. Penalty kill hasn't been able to kill off those penalties as well. That's trouble now going up against Carolina. Carolina's power play started the season off a little bit slow, but they've had 3 power play goals in the last 3 games, which is good to see. When you look at this Hurricanes team, I just love this team. I've got futures on them to win the East, futures on them to win the Stanley Cup. I think they can get scoring from all 3 lines. You could even throw in the 4th line in there once in a while to chip in to score for them. You love the blue line. How about Tony DeAngelo? If that's not an indication, Jimmy, of how good a coach Rod Brind'Amour is, how he can get a troubled person like that to join this team, fall in line, do what he needs to do, get him to buy in, that's all the proof you need. Because Tony DeAngelo has been fantastic for this team, especially lately. All the issues he had, the headspace, mentality was not right with the Rangers. He's come here with Carolina, and he's been terrific. But that blue line, Jimmy Slavin, DeAngelo, Brady Shea, Brett Pesce, one of the more underrated defensemen. He's terrific. He's steady. He's sound in his own zone. Ian Cole, Ethan Bear. They got guys like Jake Gardner and Brendan Smith who are good defensemen, Jimmy. They've been in the league forever. One's injured. Brendan Smith can't crack the lineup because the other 6 are so good. That's how much depth they have, Carolina, on the blue line. And after a couple of losses now, frustrating loss against Florida. I actually think Florida deserved to win the other night. They had the run of play. They controlled, play. They were in the offensive zone longer than Carolina in that game. So even though Carolina, had the lead late, Florida tied it late and then won in overtime. What a stretch pass, by the way, to Ekblad on that game-winning goal by Huberdeau. Phenomenal play. Florida deserved to win. Carolina wasn't thrilled with their third period. I think they come out strong here. I'm right in line with you on this one, Jimmy. In fact, I took Carolina. I took them in regulation here in this game. You can get Carolina in regulation at a pretty solid price here. Obviously, I prefer that than the money line with the Hurricanes. Actually shop it around for me, Jimmy, with Carolina in regulation, because my screen is frozen here that I'm using for the odds. But Carolina in regulation, I would think closer to even money.
Yeah, I believe that will be the case. I will find it for you. Great breakdown. I agree. A couple things though. I'm happy that the Predators have lost 3 straight. I still think they're not a terrible. They're a good enough hockey team. I don't think they're going to fall apart completely here. I just think that that's the toughest division in hockey. So I think they're going to have trouble as we go through the next couple months. And then you and Gokster both have futures on Carolina. And I don't know if it was because I've lost on
minus 107. There we go.
Oh, you got minus 107?
Yeah.
Okay, let me also get Pinnacle and a couple other books up here. But I don't know if it's that I don't have, or that I lost on Carolina the last couple of years. But I don't know if they have what it takes. And I don't trust Frederik Andersen. And so I'm not as high as others.
At playoff time, there's doubts with this guy. Going back to even Anaheim, never mind Toronto. We know Toronto's got a black cloud over them at playoff time. But even in those Anaheim years when they made the playoffs, Andersen at times was a little shaky. He'd make some great saves, and he'd have some goals that, would go right through him. And that especially happened in Toronto. If you're a Leaf fan, the last couple of years, especially some of those ousters that you suffered in Game 7s against the Boston Bruins, there were some goals that, if Frederik Andersen's on top of his game, he shouldn't be allowing those type of goals. And we've seen them in recent playoff years. So I'm not concerned about him now in the regular season. And why would you? He's had a great season. But at playoff time, he's got some proving to be done.
Well, let's keep rolling. We still have 16 NCAA games as well, my man. I love talk. We can sit here and talk all day about NHL, but let's keep rolling. Shout out to Kyle Hintley, and thank you so much for that $10 dono, my guy. It means a ton to us. It truly means a ton to us. Thank you so much for your support. Dennis Garcia says Carolina make playoffs minus 180, over 95.5 points, and 425 to win the division. But I kept all my Carolina futures to the regular season. Yeah, I get that. Billy Friedrich says they have to get past Tampa, Florida, Pittsburgh, Rangers. I mean, you haven't even mentioned the Leafs, who I think can be very dangerous, and possibly Washington. I'm a Canes fan. I don't see it unless they land someone before the deadline. And there's Fat Wally in the house. And we have Ron Crawford. Ron Crawford is on the Hurricanes in regulation. I was with Ron yesterday, and we did not cash on the Blues. And Cole Caulfield certainly is being inspired by his, the player that he's emulated his whole career, Martin St. Louis, now coaching him. And that was not good. But I don't expect, if I'm in line with Ron Crawford and Bobano and Slatsy, that will get denied twice in a row. Shout out to Ron Crawford. He's on Spreadsheet Play Today, Carolina in regulation. And Rodney Barton saying Carolina's failed to cover the puck line, 11 straight as favorites.
I love it. Ron Crawford's got his own music and graphics for his Spreadsheet Play. He deserves it. He's done well. What a record.
Yeah, I know. He's great. All right, let's roll on. 8 p.m. Eastern is next up. Florida Panthers, 33-10-5, 10-7-5 on the road. I stare at that road record. Now, I've got the Panthers plus 425 to win the division. There's been no hedging. I don't think you can hedge when there's both the Lightning and the Leafs can win 10 straight. Minnesota Wild, 30-12-3, 16-3-1 at home. We're at Xcel Energy Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. We have Florida opening up at minus 110. There's been a 10-cent move towards them at Pinnacle, and it's up to minus 130 at Bodog and Sports Interaction. As I said, Minnesota at Bet365 went to plus 100. I was like, I bet you I can get a better line than that. Then it went to plus 110 before the show started. It's back to plus 105 right now. Let's pull up the total as well and see what we are dealing with here. From a total perspective, opened at over 6.5 at minus 121. It's now over 6.5 at minus 128. And that's getting plus money on an under 6.5 is a bet I want to make. I want to make it a lot. I think the implied probability is in my favor in that situation. And what if it does move to 7? Slatsy's saying Bobrovsky and Talbot confirmed. And the community of New Knowledge saying Minnesota hasn't lost at home since January 1st. And this is an angry group. Bobrovsky, 24-4-3, 2.54 goals against average, .919 save percentage. These numbers are coming back to earth. He started out the year spectacularly well. This contract was an albatross. It was hanging around this franchise's neck. And then it looked like an okay investment. Okay at best. When he was looking great at the beginning of the year, he's still 24-4-3, but those numbers are falling. And Cam Talbot has not followed up last year. 19-9-1, 2.86 goals against average, 912 save percentage. Florida power play 20.4, penalty killing 79.3. Very similar stats for Minnesota: 20.3 power play, 79.7 penalty killing. Panthers come off their 5th win in 6 games, 3-2 in overtime at Carolina on Wednesday night. Barkov, Reinhart scoring regulation. Ekblad wins the game 16 seconds in. Hornqvist is expected to continue. He missed 8 games heading into the All-Star break with upper body injury. He's an important piece to give them depth. They have a lot of nice pieces, and DeClaire and Verhaeghe. Minnesota had their 2-game winning streak snapped in a 6-3 loss at Winnipeg. On Wednesday, they lost to Winnipeg twice in 7 days, and we stayed off of Winnipeg because we knew that it was going to be sold out there for the first time in a long time, all 100% capacity. But it was just their second loss in the past 10 games. And I think that the Wild are live, and I'm nervous about it and wanted to talk to you guys about it. Brian Dan says, I'm with Jimmy. Wild under 6.5 value. Take it away here, Bobano. I can't wait to hear you break down Panthers Wild.
Yeah, this is a great game. I mean, obviously, two of the best teams in the NHL, and certainly one of the best teams in their respective conferences going head-to-head here. And actually, this spot kind of looks similar to what we just saw from Minnesota last week. They were coming off a loss at Winnipeg, 2-0. They had a few days off. They returned home. They played a top team, the Carolina Hurricanes, and they bounced back and they won 3-2. And in fact, they got off to a terrific, I think they were up 3-0 in that game before Carolina made it close in the third period. So they responded from being shut out in Winnipeg by playing a phenomenal game, 3-2 the next time out against a very good Carolina team. This kind of looks like a similar spot. Again, Minnesota off a loss to Winnipeg. And actually, as much as they didn't like being shut out by Winnipeg, I know for a fact, based on what I've heard and read from Dean Evison the last couple days, he didn't like their game even more against Winnipeg this last meeting. Just breakdowns defensively. Obviously, it got away from them, and it got ugly for the Minnesota Wild when it ended 6-3 loss to the Winnipeg Jets. And now they'll look to bounce back from that at home. They've played great at home. I totally agree with if you're a situational handicapper, there's no question you like Minnesota here. And I do like Minnesota here in this game. And that's no slight against Florida. And Florida did beat Carolina on the road. Not many teams can say we've beaten the Carolina Hurricanes on the road, but 3-2 in overtime. They were 30 seconds away, less than a minute away from losing that game if they don't tie it. So you have to keep that in mind. Their road record for the year, Jimmy, still isn't great, for the Florida Panthers. That's their one issue, 10-12 away from home. I think Minnesota, this is a good spot for them. I think they can get the job done. And I don't want to make a big deal out of, trying to avenge a loss in the regular season. I don't think revenge spots are as big in pro sports as maybe college. But a 5-4 win for Florida back on November 20th in Florida. I think Minnesota's got the chance to get them back here. It's a good situation for them. I expect them to get the win. I also like this game over the total. Wash, rinse, repeat for me with the Minnesota Wild at home. How are you going to argue with 16-4 to the over at home this year, the Minnesota Wild? 16-4. That's 80% winners if you've been taking Minnesota over the total in every home game this year. It's just a scoring machine. It's just a shootout central here when Minnesota plays at home. And the series history indicates we should see a goal fest tonight, 7-2 to the over in the last 9 head-to-head meetings between the Panthers and the Wild. So I'm on 2 plays here. Minnesota money line over 6.5 -125.
All right, let's hook you up. You can get the money line at plus 109 over at Pinnacle. I'll see if I can beat that for you, Bobano, and you get the over 6.5 at -125. It's -129 here.
Yeah, it's gone up. Oh yeah, I see that now. It has gone up since even when I bet it earlier. So people in agreement. A lot of goals expected.
I'm going to keep an eye on this because I think it'll just keep getting bet to the over. I just don't think you want to fight fire with fire with Florida, and I do think that if Everson is that angry about the 6-3 debacle in Winnipeg, that maybe they can tighten up. A Wilder plus 110 at Bookmaker. Thank you. So we are giving present lines that are available right now. And there's Michael Anderson. Thank you so much for the donuts. Says, I appreciate you and the crew. Content grind. I follow many on sports betting. You guys are on the top of that list. Shout outs to Jay Money as well. Much love to you, Michael Anderson. Thank you so much for the kind words. That means a lot to us. It means a lot. So I think I'm going to roll with you on Minnesota. My plus 110 down to 105. And I'm very interested in trying to get under this number, and maybe it's a foolish thing to do after the stats that you dropped. Let's move on. 8:30 p.m. Eastern, Dallas Stars at Chicago Blackhawks. Stars 26-19-2, 9-12-1 on the road, and Chicago Blackhawks 18-24-7, 8-11-3 at home. You know, I don't usually talk about the tickets and the cash in NHL. I don't feel like it's helpful, but I am curious here, and look at this. So 5,043 tickets in. There's going to be a ton of bets on NHL today because no NBA. 62% of tickets on the over and 95% of cash on the over. Maybe I should just let go of that. Dallas Stars at Chicago Blackhawks, United Center, Chicago, Illinois. They had Braden Holtby listed. There's just no chance. I want to say there's no chance they don't go with Ottinger. I don't know if anybody has it, but after that 46-save performance, they would be foolish not to try and run with Ottinger and give him the confidence and get him rolling. But I had Holtby listed last night. Marc-Andre Fleury, 16-7-3, 2.88 goals against average, 9-10 save percentage, 3 shutouts. Very interesting that the Capitals have been trying to trade for Fleury, and he says no. He won't play for a rival of the Penguins, their biggest rival. It shows kind of the heart and the character of Marc-Andre Fleury. Dallas power play at 25.5%, penalty killing 77.8%. Their Chicago power play at 20.1%, 74.5%. And Slatsy says historical trends matter for Stars. Hawks 7-0 over the last 7. Ski Prophet says, why is it not helpful to look at tickets and money in hockey? It's not that it's not helpful. It's that usually there's often not a lot of tickets in at this point in a big NHL card. And then you have 800 tickets to like 1,200 tickets in at this point. And I don't know if that sample size is enough to push me. But it's that, you know, I've beaten NHL year after year in front of you guys until this year, and I've never looked at it for NHL. So I just wanted to keep that continuity, and maybe I should start looking at it because I've been struggling. And Ski Prophet says, curious because I feel that way about NBA. I think whichever sport you're most familiar with, the less you care about whether others are betting. That's perfectly put. That's absolutely perfectly put, Ski. You're absolutely right there. Absolutely right. And then Roto has Ottinger expected so far. Okay, so I'll set a quick table, but I'll tell you, I bet Dallas Stars on the -1 line. I only got plus 110 on the -1 line. It's plus 100 right now, bet 365. But I did a radio show that's sponsored by Sports Interaction, Rob Mike Richards, this morning, and Sports Interaction had the -1 at plus 136 for the Dallas Stars, and I was like, God, I got to open up an account at Sports Interaction and take advantage of their -1 lines because I used to not like their -1 lines. That's just outrageous. Also, when I saw 5.5 at plus 100 to the over, I was beside myself. I feel like the market is still expecting the Dallas Stars team from years past, not the Dallas Stars team that has a first line of Robertson, Hintz, and Pavelski that's going off. Pavelski, another 4-point night. He's had 4 different 4-point nights on the season. 37-year-old Pavelski just keeps on rolling. Stars coming off a 4-1 win at Colorado on Tuesday night. I probably don't want to back the Stars off, stopping that 19-game point streak for Colorado, but I just find the Blackhawks a weak hockey team that I want to take advantage of. So Tyler Seguin has stepped up, a goal and 2 assists. He's had 8 points over his last 6 games. If they get him and Ben rolling, talk about the depth. What if they get Gurianov going, Radulov going? I mean, then they have real scary depth. Blackhawks are on the second half of back-to-back after losing Columbus 7-4 at home last night. We easily cashed the over. DeBrincat scored his 29th goal of the season. He's been very good. Patrick Kane is now tied with Dennis Savard for 719 career assists. And the Savardian spinorama, I would practice all day by myself, all day on the ice by myself. And I wore number 18 for Savard, and then for Igor Larionov, who became my favorite player after that. Blackhawks have lost 5 straight home games and 5 of 7 overall. How is this at 5.5 juice to the under, first off, Bobano? And are you also going to back the Stars with me?
This is it's a pass for me on this game. I mean, certainly Dallas would be the preferred side. I still don't love them on the road necessarily. Now, it's going to say they've won 5 straight on the road, and they have, Dallas. And obviously, it doesn't get more impressive than beating Colorado the other night, 4-1. That was a terrific game. It wasn't a great Colorado spot, though, I will say. They already shut out Dallas in Big D, and then they had the Vegas game the night, on Wednesday night. So I didn't feel that was a great spot anyway for Colorado, but I don't want to take it away from Dallas completely. They played a great game. And Jake Ottinger, who went through a little bit of struggles there, he was fighting the puck a little bit, spitting out bad rebounds, at times as well. He played great that was one of his best games of the year in that win against the Avalanche. And I would assume he's going to be in net. It's not confirmed yet. It's projected that he's going to be the starter. Chicago, I don't want to back them. I know that. This team's struggling. They got absolutely pounded by Columbus. What a rough night for Arvid Soderblom last night for the Chicago Blackhawks, a guy that had been shelled in his one and only start before last night, shelled again last night in the 7-4 loss to Columbus. Very easy. And I know I heard at the beginning of the show, you were on the over. I was as well in that Chicago game last night. Easy as it gets. And a big part of it was Columbus can't keep the puck out of their net. And Chicago was going to have a hard time doing that with that young kid in net. But now you got Marc-Andre Fleury back. And lately we've seen in net tonight. And lately we've seen the Blackhawks show up with him in net. And he's been terrific. He's the reason they beat Winnipeg. He's the reason they upset Edmonton and Dave Tippett's last game that sent him packing over a week ago. There's just some odd, pit of my guts, sentiment saying don't take Dallas here because Marc-Andre Fleury, this feels like one of those spots after a debacle last night. He rises up and steals one maybe for Chicago. And he's going to have to because we know Dallas is the better of these two teams. But I'm with you. I mean, I would only play Dallas, but something's telling me stay away, and that's what I'm going to do.
And JA on the under, I just think that the market is wrong on these Dallas Stars games, and the fact that the two games against the Avalanche both went under, I think has partly to do with this. It's a public spot, and I attacked it immediately. So we'll see how it works out for me. But I'm on the over 5.5 at plus 100 from last night. I'm on the Dallas Stars -1 at plus 110, and I think the Blackhawks are a fade, and I want to bet overs with them. And all right, there you have it. So Bobano with trepidation on this spot, and I'm just attacking with full force. Let's move on to the final game on the NHL slate, and then move on to all 16 NCAA basketball games. LA Kings 24-17-7, 11-6-5 on the road at the Vegas Golden Knights 28-18-3, 14-11-2 at home at T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. Johnny Quick and Laurent Brossoit. Johnny Quick, 12-10-6, 2.60 goals against average, 9-12 save percentage, 2 shutouts. I'm not sure if that's confirmed at this point. And Brossoit, 9-4-2, 2.62 goals against average, 906 save percentage, 1 shutout. When we go over to the action here, and look, there's only been a 4-cent move to the over at Pinnacle for the Dallas-Chicago game. So it's not being a huge move. But at Pinnacle, they moved the total at Los Angeles-Vegas from 5.5 to 6. And when we go over to the money lines, we have Vegas opening up at -163. They're now at -159. So it's a 4-cent move towards the Kings. Sammy Comer says Kings are live here. I agree. And I can't wait to talk about this game. This game excites me. Kings power play 15.8%, penalty killing 74.2%. I'm not entirely sure why their penalty killing is so poor. I want to blame McClellan. I don't know who else to blame. With Deneau in the lineup and with Deneau and Doughty and decent goaltending, you think it'd be better than that. Vegas power play 19.2%, penalty killing at 79.3%. Kings lost their first game post All-Star break on Tuesday, 5-2 at home to the Oilers, and it was just it's probably the angriest I've been all year. I had the under 6.5 confidently. It was 1-0 with a minute left in the second. The Oilers scored a marginal goal with some contact to the goalie. It should have been allowed, and it was allowed. And then, a couple goals were scored in the first 8 minutes of the second period, 2-2. Then Yamamoto made it 3-2 with about 4.5 minutes left in the game. And then goalies pulled and an empty netter for the Kings with a minute left and another empty netter with 20 seconds left. And I lose the under 6.5. And I was just like fucking livid. But LA played better than the score indicated. They're just 4 points behind Vegas. And shout out to Dennis Garcia, who got us on the Calgary Flames at plus 210 to win the Pacific Division just a week ago. It was -180 yesterday. It should be -210 today. That's just in a
win or lose. You made a great bet. He's got a great price in his pocket. Calgary's improved their standing since then. There's nothing more you can say. You made a great bet, regardless of how it plays out from here.
Yeah, and if we do get any fear at any point, because I made a decent sized bet on it, I can easily, hedge easily, so easily in a divisional bet. But that was all Dennis Garcia, because I despise the Flames, but he really read that well. So okay, here, this is why I want to talk about this the most. So the Knights lost their first game with prize possession Jack Eichel in the lineup, 2-0 at home to the Avalanche on Wednesday. He didn't look good. That's no surprise because he'd been off for 11 months. They'd lost their previous game 6-0. So here are two things. They have a 139-minute, 46-second scoreless streak going into the game. They're 14-11-2 at home. Only the Kraken have more home losses in the Pacific Division. Eichel plays 17 minutes, 32 seconds. He's a -1. He attempts one shot, picks up 2 penalties, and wins 8 of 19 faceoffs. And Nolan Patrick is dealing with the concussions again and the migraines again. Here they have number 2 overall picks that, we're talking about a player in Eichel who just had artificial disc replacement surgery in his neck. No player has ever had that. That's why Buffalo didn't want him to do it. I mean, this could go wrong for them. Now, it's believed across the board in the NHL that they're cheating the system, just like Tampa Bay did last year when Kucherov was available to come off the LTIR. There's a belief across the league that Mark Stone doesn't really need that there is the back issue going on, but he doesn't need to be on the LTIR. The only way they could have Eichel in the lineup is if Mark Stone was not in the lineup, and they want Alec Martinez back. There's a belief across the NHL that Alec Martinez is ready to go. He could play right now, but they don't have the room in the salary cap, so they're not bringing him in. So they have Alec Martinez and Mark Stone on LTIR, and they are cheating the system, and you're allowed to do it. There's nothing wrong with it. You're allowed to do it. We need to create rules to stop you from doing it. They're allowed to do it, so there's nothing wrong with it. But that's just absolutely wild stuff, and I can't wait to hear your take on all of this. I've not moved on this game. Take it away, Bobano. Kings Knights.
Well, first thing I noticed with this game is that it's been over Palooza, Kings versus Golden Knights. I mean, every recent meeting's gone over the total, 4-2, 4-2, 6-2, 6-2, 6-3. I mean, it's been high scoring this series. But you got to bet 6 now for the over here. And Vegas is on a 2-game scoreless streak. They haven't scored in 2 games back-to-back shutout losses to Calgary and then, of course, to Colorado. And they looked out of sync. And I was on Colorado Wednesday night against Vegas off the loss to Dallas. I figured, maybe it's going to take a little time for the chemistry and the cohesion to arrive with Jack Eichel. It's not you just snap your fingers, Jack Eichel's in the lineup, and you play great, and all of a sudden everything is going to come together. It doesn't work that way, especially in hockey. And we've seen Vegas. They're struggling to put the puck in the net at the moment. That's definitely a concern going into this game. And this Los Angeles team, they're going to look at this as an opportunity, this game. They're off a 5-2 setback the other night against Edmonton, an Oilers team that hasn't lost under Jay Woodcroft. You got to factor that in. They've played better team defense, Edmonton. There's no question about that. And even that being said, the Kings had a bunch of chances. I thought it was a very good game in between the pipes for Smith. He was very good for the most part. They did outshoot the Oilers 32-27. They had the slight edge in terms of the controlling the play, the time in the offensive zone, those kinds of numbers. You're right. They're only 4 points back. This Pacific Division race is so much fun. It's going to be a very exciting down the stretch of the season. You got Calgary with 62 points, Vegas 59. The resurgent Edmonton Oilers now 57. Edmonton's just 2 points behind Vegas now after last night's win against Anaheim. And then, of course, you've got LA right behind Edmonton at 55 and 4 points behind the Vegas Golden Knights. So this is a big 2 points at stake for LA. There's a lot of numbers that point to them being good off a loss, especially at home, especially off a multiple goal loss. So this is going to be a game I think I pass on. But for those of you in the chat that say maybe you look at LA, I don't hate that. You're getting a good price. I know you're getting them on the road here in this game against Vegas. It's never easy to win, and Vegas doesn't want to lose 2 in a row at home. I get that. But I think for Vegas, it could take some time for this cohesion to arrive with Jack Eichel. Because, look, Pete DeBoer has put his lines in a blender, really, and he's changed things up. It looked like it's going to take a game or two with Pacioretty, Eichel, and Dodonov. I don't know how long he's going to keep that line together. He tried it Wednesday night, didn't work, but I think he's sticking with it because when you make these line changes, you can't just give up after one game when the results don't go your way. You got to give these guys more than just one game on the same line. Keep Smith, Carlson, and Janmark together on the second line, Marchessault, Stevenson, and Nick Waugh on the third line. But we'll see. It's just going to be a matter of when does that rhythm and that timing, knowing where each other is on the ice with your line mates, all of that stuff. It's not instantaneously that clicks. It's going to take time. I love the Kings and the look of this team. Danault has been a huge addition at both ends of the ice. He's found his offense again. Victor Arvidsson, a nice veteran forward from Nashville. Quentin Byfield now, I think is not a blazing start, but I think he's getting better and more noticeable every game. And I love their top line with Iafallo, Kopitar, and Kempe. I mean, they have been absolutely terrific most of the season. So right now, with the way Vegas can't put a puck in the net 2 games straight being shut out, it's hard for me to lay a price with them. So not a game I've bet yet, but I lean Kings, slightly lean to the over just because of the series history. It's been just so slanted toward the over.
I want to bet the Kings. I want to bet the Kings badly, but I'm very hesitant. And a team that's been shut out now for 140 minutes. Oh, I want to. I don't know if I can do it. But it's Kings or nothing, and I'm staying away from the total. It's Kings or nothing. I would like to add the Kings and the Wild and possibly the under 6.5 and have all those 3 at plus prices. This is a great 4-game slate. So those of you who bet NBA, religiously, which is a wonderful thing to do, a wonderful sport to cap, but take a look at these 4 games. They're going to be extremely enjoyable tonight. And we have a huge NCAA card. We got Matty Ice. We got CT Bays in the house. We got Jacksonville Zoe, Cashman, fresh off of cashing a 66-1 on Neiman to have the first round lead yesterday. We got Trooper Ayash Allah, a.k.a. my guy Robert Cherry. We got DX Filer. Great group hanging with us. Red Girl back in action. And Matty Ice is also here. Taint play of the day plus money taint play of the day. And Matty Ice saying at 150 likes, it is available. Wonderful. That was extremely enjoyable. Let's review action. Let's go with Bobano first. He's got the Hurricanes in regulation at minus 107 as well. Ron Crawford at spreadsheet play of the day on Carolina. Did I make sure that if Ron Crawford did, Jose, can you find Ron Crawford's NCAA spread? Oh, I got it right here. Northern Kentucky North. Okay, sorry. Let me get that. Northern Kentucky North. Sorry, I didn't want to make sure I didn't miss that. And then we have moves. Sorry, let's get back up here. Apologies. Just want to make sure that I copy paste everything. Bobano on Minnesota plus 110 and the over 6.5. I think I'm going to be with hang with you on Minnesota, but I'm interested in the under. But why should I? Bobrovsky and Talbot are not playing very well.
Talbot struggled lately too. Yeah, big time. He's not played as well. Yep.
You know what? I'll probably just stay off of it. I'll add Minnesota. Why wouldn't I want to add Minnesota and LA? I think one of them can win this game.
And with Minnesota home overs, I said 16-4 to the over at home this year. I mean, that's an unbelievable record. That's 80% winners with the over for Minnesota at home. But I've been riding many of those. I've been of those 16 Minnesota home overs. I'm guessing I've bet like 12 or 14. I've been on that many of them. I caught onto it early in the season, and I've been riding it much of the season. But if you're someone that hasn't been riding Minnesota overs at home this year, tonight and in this spot at a minus 30 juice at a 6.5, it may not be the best time to jump on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I love Everson. I think he's a great coach. I think he cracks a whip. I know that Billy Guerin does while watching from upstairs, and they looked poor defensively against Winnipeg, and they better be tight defensively or the Panthers will hurt you. So the psychology sort of playing in that. I'm on Dallas, Chicago over 5.5 at plus 100. I bet these all. Actually, I guess I didn't bet these last night. I bet these all this morning because I couldn't bet Dallas, Chicago when I went to sleep last night. It wasn't available in my book. Hurricanes minus 1. I did miss out probably on about 4 cents by waiting. Hurricanes minus 1 to minus 110. Stars minus 1 plus 110. Dallas, Chicago over 5.5. All right, Bobano, I've been very excited about this. We've had great NCAA capping on this show. We've had Maxwell Smart, Noli Knows, Connor Mack, and now we have Bobano opening up his account at betting with the bag. Let's get to work right now. So we have 16 games, and we have Bobano just for about 56 more minutes. So we can't stall, and let's get to work. Let me make sure that I've got all of the required market movement information here. And tell me this comes up. Please tell me it comes up. It does. All right, we are in business. Let's get started. And I sent Bobano the schedule so you can come roll with me and know where we're going to attack. There's only 16 games on the card. We start at 5 p.m. Eastern. Butler Bulldogs, 13-13, 6-9 in the Big East at St. John's Red Storm, 14-11, 6-8 in the Big East. Carnesca Arena in Queens, New York. We have St. John's opening up at -8.5. They're now 7.5. This total opened up at 140.5. It's now 141.5. Butler snapped out of the 3-game losing streak with a big 85-79 win at home over then number 18 Marquette as 3.5-point dogs before beating DePaul 73-71 on the road on Tuesday as 5.5-point dogs. So winning straight up, winning outright as dogs last 2 games. Simas Lukosius hit the 3-pointer with 6 seconds left to give Butler the win. He went for 19. Chuck Harris went for 18. Jaden Taylor added 12, and Aaron Thompson added 11. But Butler had lost 5 games on the road in a row before that victory. St. John's, interestingly enough, a team at 14-11, they are just 6-8 in conference, has lost 4 straight at home. They haven't won at home since a January 16th 17-point victory over Georgetown, and they've all been excruciating losses. They've all been very close games. They lost by 6 to Seton Hall, by 4 to Providence. Last week, they lose by 6 to Villanova and just 3 to UConn. They most recently defeated Xavier on the road, 86-73 on Wednesday night as 6.5-point dogs. And Julian Champagny, 27 points, and Treat Coburn, 13. First game on the board, Bobano, Butler, St. John's, take it away.
So all Butler's done in conference play is hang tough in every game. Hang tough in every game, have a chance to win. Since being blown out by UConn 2 straight back in mid-January, they beat Creighton, Georgetown, Marquette, and DePaul, 4 wins. And their 4 losses during that span, 7-point road loss at Providence, team that's battling for top spot in the Big East. 2-point loss at Xavier, another pretty solid Big East team. 3-point loss against St. John's at home. So there's actually a revenge spot here for Butler. 2-point loss at Creighton. Where's the evidence of them losing by margin? I am surprised this number opened as high as it did. And I know St. John's is playing their best basketball right now. Mike Anderson's got this team playing better. They gave Villanova a battle. They took UConn down to the wire, lost by 3. 2 very good teams, and they finally broke through against Xavier. And I was on St. John's plus the points against Xavier earlier this week, 86-73. They played one of their better defensive games as well. We know this team can score. We know that full court press can force turnovers, and their transition game is lethal. We know on that end of the floor they're very good, but their defense was much better, and it's been better the last few games. It was good to see for St. John's was Julian Champagny got out of a shooting slump. He scored 27 in the win against Xavier. They got Posh Alexander back from injury. That was very significant as well for St. John's in that game. But now they're back home laying points where they've been absolutely dismal laying bigger numbers this year, the St. John's Red Storm. You've got Butler trying to avenge that loss. Now, part of the reason why this number opened high, some injury concerns for Butler. Bryce Enzie's missed time with a knee injury. Bo Hodges, he has been out as well due to another undisclosed issue. So those 2 guys are important players for Butler. But you look at what they've done without Enzie and Hodges. They beat Marquette and DePaul without Bryce Enzie. And Bo Hodges, he missed the game against DePaul. And they still found a way to win that game. So Butler's found ways to overcome these key absences here. So as far as I'm concerned, I would look at this Butler team plus the points in this game. As far as the total goes, it's tough because Butler to me is one of those teams that, they kind of want to slow it down. They don't want to run and gun, but yet they've trended over. And they've trended over because their defense hasn't been necessarily as reliable, and their offense has actually performed a little bit better. And with St. John's, what you're going to get pace. You're going to get them trying to score early in the shot clock. You do have trends that point to the over, especially with Butler. Last 11 games when a dog, they're 9-1-1 to the over. So I don't hate the over. I'd lean that way, but I like the side more. I'm on Butler here, plus the points.
All right, let's lock Butler in for you. We can get you a plus 7.5 at -110. So the account of Bobano is open for business. I'm betting with the bag. Butler plus 7.5 and minus 110. And I think I want to roll.
I'll be honest, full disclosure, I have +9 on Butler. Like I bet it overnight, so I've got good CLV already. But I'm going to go ahead with it at 7.5. I think we get like a 4, 5, 6 point win at most for St. John's. I think it's competitive. You look at Butler; they've been right there in every game recently.
And Billy Friedrich did cut the juice for you, cut the VIG down to minus 108. Thank you, Billy. That means a lot to us. Okay, wow. And then, so you don't have to make picks official if you feel like that, something that you bet overnight that's hurting you. So no pressure on that.
If it had moved any more, I would have dropped it. Yep.
All right, that's the 5 p.m. game. For those of you out west, help you get through your workday game. All right, let's move on to 7 p.m. Eastern. We head to the Ivy League for 3 straight games now. 4. The next 4 games are all Ivy League, and then we move on to the Horizon. Let's go. 7 p.m. Eastern. Princeton Tigers, 17-5, 7-2 in conference, smashing teams at Brown Bears, 12-13, 4-6 in the Ivy. Piscataway Sports Center in Providence, Rhode Island. Shout out to our nasty Nate. We have here, in the Princeton spot, Princeton opening up as just 1-point favorites. That's moved to 2. This total opened up at 145. We see 143.5 and 144s on the board. Princeton comes in off their second straight lopsided win. They won at Columbia 85-63 on February 5th. Followed that up by destroying Dartmouth Big Green 85-40 at home as just 7-point favorites, beaten by 45. They outscored Dartmouth 43-13 in the first half. They held Dartmouth to 23.1% shooting and out-rebounded them 50-27. Brown also comes in off 2 straight victories, but they were much tighter scores. They beat Dartmouth on February 5th, just 62-60, before squeaking out a victory 81-80 at Cornell as 1.5-point dogs. Are you surprised that they're only 2-point favorites here? Bobano, take it away.
Yeah, it's Princeton's playing defense all of a sudden. These last 2 games, I mean, they can't do much better than holding a team for 12 for 52 from the floor. That was the Dartmouth game, 85-40 in their last game, 45-point win. This is a really good Princeton team. They've always been pretty solid here in this conference, and this year it's been more of the same. And what I say, they've always been able to score pretty well, but it's really the defensive end of the basketball court where we've really seen Princeton make strides. There's no question. This is a very competitive and underrated conference and league. The Ivy League's got a bunch of teams that are pretty good. I don't know if there's one that's dominant over the other, but you look at the top of the Ivy League, you've got Yale, you've got Pennsylvania, Penn Quakers, you've got Princeton. Those are 3 very good Ivy League teams. It's very, very hard to separate those 3 teams from one another. What can Brown do for you? Fail to cover point spreads because that's what they've done lately. They've only covered once in their last 4 games. But they did beat Cornell in their last game, 81-80. You look at series history with these 2 teams, it's been pretty lopsided in terms of Princeton. They've won each of the last 3 meetings, 73-54, 71-49. Earlier this year, it was close, 76-74. It was about as well as Brown's played Princeton in recent meetings. But Princeton's the better of these 2 teams. To me, revenge angles I like when the teams are pretty close, pretty even. I think there's a gap between these 2 teams. And when there's a gap between these 2 teams, I don't just knee-jerk the team that's in revenge, which in this case is Brown. I think Princeton is better. I haven't bet the game, but I would lean to the road favorite.
Yeah, it feels like they're just begging us for Princeton bets here. You have a team 7-2 in conference against a team that's 4-6 in conference. Princeton just smashing opponents.
And I don't like that Princeton played like the perfect game. They score 85 points. They were just electrifying on offense, and they were just as good as it gets on defense. When a team plays that kind of game, a lot of times it's a clunker or a dud, or you're playing nowhere close to that level the next time out. That's the one thing I do get concerned with here in the back of my mind.
And Billy Friedrich saying Brown 2-6 against the spread at home. All right, let's continue in the Ivy League. We got our guy Abel Alvarez joining us from Las Vegas on Monmouth, Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Cleveland State. We're going to stick in the Ivy League. You talked Quaker ball. Let's talk about their action here. 7 p.m. Eastern.
First place showdown.
Yeah, man. This is going to be fun. The Quakers 8-2 in conference. Yale Bulldogs 8-1 in conference. We're at John J. Lee Amphitheater in New Haven, Connecticut. Both teams enter on impressive winning streaks. But let's take a look at the market here. Yale opening up at -4.5. That's down to 4 or 3.5. And this total just sitting around 144, 144.5. Not a lot of movement there. Pennsylvania comes in off their 5th straight win, 82-74 at home over Harvard on Saturday as 2-point favorites. Dingle went off. Career high 33 points for Jordan Dingle, 8 of 10 from 3. Yale comes in off their 6th straight win, 84-59, demolishing of Columbia on the road as 14.5-point favorites. Yale shot 63% from the field and 42.1% from 3. Matt Noling went for 19 points, 9 of 12 from the floor. Azar Swain went for 17 for Yale. This is very interesting. Take it away, Bobano. Penn, Yale.
So Penn won the first meeting on their home court, January 22nd, 76-68. Very good win for them. And it's really a win that got them really rolling, because since that time, they've won every game. They've covered every number, including that win against Yale at home earlier this year. They've played really good basketball, the Penn Quakers, as of late. And they took their lumps in non-conference. They struggled, but this is a very good coach, Steve Donahue. He's been here for years. He was at Boston College as well as a coach many years ago. He's done a solid job with this Quakers program. Not a surprise to me to see them get better. You're right. They're led by Jordan Dingle. He's terrific. Max Martz, Clark Slatchert. They've got definitely some offensive pieces. What's been nice to see is that once they've gotten into conference play, they've tightened things up defensively. That was an issue for them. They were getting just obliterated at the defensive end of the basketball court early in the year, but their defensive numbers have improved significantly. They're number 2 in defensive efficiency in the conference in terms of conference play numbers. And I find this is a good thing I want to point out here with everybody watching. When you're handicapping college basketball this late into the season, I think you're doing yourself a disservice focusing on overall full season numbers. I'm more interested in conference numbers. What are you doing in conference play when teams know each other well, when coaches know each other well, when familiarity is there with these teams? I want to know how you're doing inside your own conference. So I really focus in more on those conference statistics: defensive efficiency, field goal percentage, offensively, defensively, turnover rate, free throws, all that stuff, because you'll see teams that totally change in terms of their statistical profile when you go from non-conference play into conference play. So these two teams are the top defensive efficiency teams in the conference. Not a surprise. That's why they're right here where they are in terms of battling for first. You've got Penn's on a point spread streak. So yes, Yale's in revenge. Yale's on a home court where they're very good, obviously. They've been terrific at home again this year, 8-2 straight up, and they're only laying 4 here on their home floor. But Penn is on one of those point spread covering streaks. And my thought on that is, Jimmy, and I've said this for years, I think, on this show with you, when a team's on a point spread streak, I don't go against the streak. It's just I ride the streak or I pass the game. It's a great game to watch. I get it. Yale's trying to earn some redemption for losing to Penn on the road just last month. But Penn's on this point spread streak, and I still get the feeling this could be a 1 or 2 possession kind of game. So I'd actually lean, I'm not betting the game, but I would lean against the revenge angle and actually lean to Penn +4.
Yeah, and a lot of talk about that in the chat, except Ron Crawford on the other side. He says Yale by 8-10. Which is wild, that Ron Crawford. And same with Matty Ice liking Yale. I have a quick thing here, and he says Yale all day. This makes me want to stay off the game when I thought I might be making a move. Bobano, we can get you +8 on Butler at -115. Do you want that?
Of course. Sign me up. Yeah, you can get me that 8. That's excellent. Yep.
And thank you to our guy, Todd, who hooked us up, Todd Hilton, who found it over.
That's, by the way, for show purposes. I don't need the +8. I already have +9. So
yeah, that's
I'm good, but for the show, yeah.
Yeah, for official show purposes. So you talk about these teams' defensive efficiency. Does that interest you in a tight defensive game, especially after Yale shot 63% from the field in that beatdown of Columbia? Do you think that the under would be possibly in play here?
I think so. We stayed under in the first meeting. And you know what? The percentages weren't terrible. The team shot decently in that game. I think in the rematch here, we could see this game stay under. And keep in mind, the under's 5-1 in the last 6 meetings with these two teams. And we've seen 137, 143, 143, 130, There was one game that got to 149 last year, and then earlier this year it was 144. And this total right now is 144 and a half, 145. So to me, this would be an under or nothing.
I'm going to think on that a little longer. Shout out to JPZ. Thank you so much for the $5 donut, my man. He says, hell yeah, Bobano in the bag. I got 5 on it. Steph Roscoe liking Penn. Mike M liking, saying Yale. Spotty's liking Yale. And very exciting. Tease is, by the way, on Butler first half plus 4.5 and got the first half under 68. Okay, let's move on. We stay in the Ivy League. Big Red versus Big Green. Cornell, Dartmouth. Cornell 13-8, 5-5 in conference, while Dartmouth 5-15, 2-7 in conference. We're in Hanover, New Hampshire for this. Let's go over to the market and see what we are dealing with here in this Cornell spot. Do they not even have it? Oh, there we go. Dartmouth opening up as 1-point favorites. It's been moved to a pick'em at some books, and this total has shot way up. It's gone up 4 points at Pinnacle from 143.5 all the way up to 147.5. Cornell comes in off their second loss in 3 games, losing 81-80 at home to Brown last Saturday's 1.5-point favorites. Chris Mannon had 17 points, 7 boards for the Big Red. Kobe Dixon got 14. Jordan Jones, 13 points, 5 assists. Dartmouth comes in off that extremely ugly 85-40 loss that we were just speaking of at Princeton. They were just 7-point dogs in that spot and got destroyed. They were down 43-13 at the half. That 13 first half points, as you would guess, was a season low for the team. Aaron Ray had 12 points and 7 boards. Brendan Barry, 3 points. That's their leading scorer. He came in averaging 15 points a game and went 0 for 5 from 3 for 3 points. You have to think that Dartmouth is better here, but how much better? Steph Roscoe likes Cornell. Take it away here, Bobano. Cornell, Dartmouth.
Yeah, I lean Cornell, but the bet I like here is the over. Death taxes and Cornell Big Red over the total. This team is extremely fast. Like, you watch this team, it's a breakneck pace they play at. Now, Dartmouth's actually the slowest pace team in the Ivy League, believe it or not. So that's why you actually get a bargain with this total. You know, most Cornell games are lined in totals, 150s. You've even seen some 160s with them this year, but you're getting a 145.5 here, 146 with this total because of Dartmouth. Dartmouth's slow pace. Dartmouth has been held to 69 points or less in their last 3 games. That was an all-time brutal shooting night against Princeton. We just talked about it, 85-40. I think they're going to be better here. The one thing, Cornell will give up points. Cornell will let you score on them. They've done that all year. Because they play with so many possessions in their games, they're actually not bad. 4th defensive efficiency in the Ivy League, but they're going to give up points to a lot of teams. They give up 81 to Brown in their last game, 75 to Columbia, 83 to Princeton, 73 to Penn. I think this is the night that Dartmouth finally cracks 70. It wouldn't surprise me. And if they get to 70, or even if they get to 65, I'm convinced Cornell gets into the 80s with plenty of room to spare against this Dartmouth team that just gave up 85 to Princeton in their last game. They played back on January 2nd. It was 79-71 for Cornell at home. 150 points, went over the total, 148.5. So there you go. Very simple for me, over 146.5.
I don't know if I can somebody find a. I've got 147.5 here. We got 146 even at Circa. Wow. Okay, let's get you that.
All right, let's get that.
Yep. Over 146 at Circa Sports. Over one. Now they've got limits on a lot of their bets. Limits to especially college basketball to at about $1,000. But if that doesn't bother you, they're a really good book. They have nice lines. Okay, we have Bobano in on Cornell, Dartmouth over 146 at -110. All right, we stay in the Ivy League for one more spot before we move on to the Horizon. 7 p.m. Eastern, Columbia Lions 4-18, 1-9 in the Ivy. At the Harvard Crimson 11-10, 3-6 in the Ivy, and we're in Cambridge, Massachusetts for this one. Let's see what we are dealing with. We have Harvard opening up as 15-point favorites. Bodog has added a hook to that for 15.5. This total has also shot up. 142.5 is an opener now, up to 146, 146.5, or 147. Columbia comes in off their 8th straight loss, 84-59 at home to Yale last Saturday's 14.5-point dogs. They've lost their last 7, all by double digits, and that loss before that was by 9 points. So Jaden Cooper had 12 points. Patrick Harding, 9 boards. Geronimo Rubio de la Rosa at 8 assists. but it's not a good basketball team. Harvard comes in off their third straight loss, 82-74 at Pennsylvania's 2-point dogs. They're an angry group. Evan Nelson had 19 points for the Crimson. Noah Kirkwood, 14. Lucas Sakota had 12 and 6. I would expect Harvard to be sharp here due to the losses of recent, and maybe a Harvard first half spot is an opportunity. Billy Friedrich says 15 is too many for Harvard to be laying here, and Crystal Warren got in on the over 143.5. Great job, Crystal. Take it away here, Bobano. Columbia, Harvard.
Yeah, I'll keep this brief. Over for me, and another over for me. Series history of it's just been one over after another, head to head. Columbia and Harvard, 8 straight overs, 8-0 to the over. Now there's been some overtime games, so you have to keep that in mind. 3 of them were in overtime, but you also had 146, and you had 173 earlier this year when these teams played. It was a 91-82 victory in favor of Harvard, and it just seems both teams find their offense against one another. And I would expect both of them to. Columbia got held down by Yale, the best defensive team in the league, 59 points. Harvard shut down a little bit by Penn, 82-74, and then they played Yale twice before that. The best defensive team in the Ivy League. I think the offenses get going here. I like the over.
And is 146.5 at -108 okay?
That's good.
Okay, we lock it in. Over 146.5 -108. If anybody can beat that, please let us know. Billy Friedrich saying Harvard 2-7 against the spread in conference, and the taint is a +110 spot. We got 150 likes. You get it. Nice job, Crystal Warren. Respect. Okay, interesting. I'm hearing 2-7 against the spread in conference, but I think they're an angry group. Let's just see what they are first half here quickly at Pinnacle. Let's go to this Harvard spot. I know we got to make moves. I apologize for slowing this down, but first half is 9. It's a lot of points. Okay, I'm going to need to take some time on it. Over 146. Great job, Billy Friedrich. Got that hook gone for you. So we got over 146 and -110. Thank you, Billy. All right, we move over to the horizon. And we got Matty Ice in the chat. So it's nice to be in Detroit, Michigan at Callahan Hall when we have our Michigan Cappers in the chat. Northern Kentucky North, 15-10, 11-5 in the horizon. At Detroit Mercy Titans, 10-13, 7-6 in conference. Thank you, Tease, my guy. Where is it? Yeah, it's a beauty. This one, it's a beauty. Okay, Northern Kentucky, Detroit Mercy. Let's see what we are dealing with. We have Detroit Mercy opening up as a 1.5-point favorite to Pinnacle. That's down to 1, so not a big movement there. But we have dropped 1.5 from the opening total at Pinnacle, 137.5 down to 136. Northern Kentucky lost to Detroit Mercy at home, 74-68 on February 5th. As 3.5-point favorites. Is revenge in the cards? Since then, the Norse have won 3 straight and look good doing it. Road wins over Milwaukee, Green Bay, and most recently they won at Wright State, 75-71 on Sunday as 6-point dogs, winning outright.
Swept Wright State, one of the best teams in the conference.
Yeah. Yeah, it was impressive. Sam Vincent, 20 points. Marcus Warwick, 16. Bryson Langdon, 12, 6 assists. Adrian Nelson scored 10. Detroit Mercy has lost 2 of 3 since their victory over the Norse, including losing 2 straight. And they were last seen in an ugly 75-59 loss at Oakland. Now they were 7.5-point dogs. And spreadsheet play of the day is Northern Kentucky Norse. Take it away, Bobano. Love to hear your breakdown.
And I'm on that side as well, the Norse. And this is an angle I've used a lot. It doesn't always work, but I think it wins more often than not. Team that loses at home, especially when they're favored, first meeting, and they're back as a road underdog in the rematch in the revenge game. And that's exactly what we have here. These have been good situations to take advantage of. Northern Kentucky, 3.5-point home favorites, lost the first meeting 2 weeks ago, 74-68 to Detroit. And now they're on the road in the rematch. That's been a good look at Towson yesterday against Wilmington. Lost the first game at home, bounced back, got the win on the road. This has been a good angle long-term in college basketball. It didn't work with San Francisco, unfortunately, last night against St. Mary's, but more often than not, this is a profitable angle. And Northern Kentucky's the better team right now, better current form-wise. You can't argue with Northern Kentucky. 9-1 straight up, 9-1 against the spread. And the only loss straight up in ATS in their last 10 games was to this Detroit team. So you would expect Northern Kentucky to be ready to go. Detroit's playing on the other end of the fence right now. The defense just has disappeared. They gave up 82, 29 to 50 shooting to Youngstown State in that loss, 75-59 in their last game against Oakland. They have been a pretty good home team, but Northern Kentucky, better defensive numbers. Their offense, which struggled early in the season, has played better. You look at the last 5 games. Northern Kentucky, better points per game. Northern Kentucky, better defensive team. Northern Kentucky defense, 40% allowed compared to 51% allowed for Detroit. Shooting the basketball, Northern Kentucky, 49% from the field offensively. Detroit, just 42. Last 5 games, the better numbers across the board belong to Northern Kentucky. I think they win this game on the road. I'll take the +1.
Do you want the +1 or the money line at +104?
Let's do the money line. What the hell? Obviously, I think they win the game, so let's go money line.
+104 for Bobano. Put some asterisks there. I think I want in. Let's keep rolling, and we head over to the A10, the Richmond Spiders. This pops off 7 p.m. Eastern, 17-9, 8-5 in the A10. At VCU Rams, we're 17-7 and 10-3 in conference. We're at the Stuart C. Siegel Center in Richmond, Virginia. Let's go over to the market that we are dealing with. Come on.
Madu Akac is questionable, by the way, for Detroit. Someone was at G. Martinez. He's questionable. We don't know if he's going to play for Detroit. So there you go. There's your answer.
How do we not have this game on this list? I don't know how it's not here. Okay, so they don't have the Richmond game for the market moves here, but I did pull up the Action Network just in case of a situation just like this. Let's move over to the Action Network and see what they are telling us here for this Richmond game. So Richmond opening up at +2.5. There's still 2.5s on the board, but PointsBet has moved it to 2. And from a total look, it opens up at 131, and we see it all the way up to 133.5, even 134 over at FanDuel. Richmond bounced back from their 87-84 overtime loss at George Mason by defeating LaSalle 77-63 at home on Saturday as 14-point favorites. They pushed Grant Golden and Tyler Burton with 15 points apiece. VCU comes in on a 4-game winning streak. They were last seen in a 66-61 win at Fordham on Tuesday night as 9.5-point favorites. They outshot Fordham badly. They led 40-26 at the half, but they had to hold on for victory in that game. It was not an impressive performance, but they are an impressive group. Take it away, Bobano. Richmond, VCU.
Now, the revenge game for me, I like Richmond here, plus the points. This is where I think we're starting to see Richmond play up to their potential. This is a team loaded with experience, tons of seniors. Chris Mooney's been here forever, and there were times earlier this year they didn't look right. They didn't look great. They had some bad losses earlier in conference, but I remember they just didn't even show up one game at home against St. Joseph's, so they got just steamrolled in that game. But they have been better lately. And this is another angle, just like Northern Kentucky a second ago. You've got the home team. You've got Richmond losing at home by 2 against VCU in the first meeting, and now a road underdog in the revenge meeting. That's been a good, profitable angle here to back. And I like Richmond here. Richmond doesn't turn the ball over. You know, they are terrific in terms of taking care of the basketball, and that is critical for success against VCU, who can force turnovers. I still think with VCU, it's a one-man show. You know, Ace Baldwin is terrific, but they very rarely get supporting cast to step up for him, at least not often. And when you look at Richmond, Grant Golden, Jacob Gilliard, Tyler Burton's been outstanding lately for them. They are rounding into form. They've had a nice little run here the last 4 or 5 games. They've played great basketball. They're playing good offensively, and look, they're playing some of their best basketball defensively as well. And that was the issue earlier in the year for Richmond. They were struggling at the defensive end of the floor. But you look at these last few games, a hell of an impressive win against St. Bonaventure. Really, since the VCU loss on January 29th at home, they crushed Duquesne. They beat down St. Bonaventure, a very good team. They beat a solid George Mason team. Then they played George Mason again, and they lost in overtime. But George Mason got one of their better players back in that game, and Richmond still was right there with a chance to win and sweep George Mason. So I don't really fault them for losing that game by 3. And then they crushed LaSalle over the weekend. I really like the way Richmond's playing. They had a horrible shooting night against VCU in the first game, 22 of 62. But you look at all the other numbers. They were good defensively. They didn't really turn the ball over much. They just couldn't make a shot. If they value the basketball tonight, if they play defense the way they have in recent games, I've got to think they're going to shoot the ball better than 22 of 52 tonight. That was just an uncharacteristically poor night shooting the ball for Richmond there in that game. And we've seen VCU before. They beat Dayton on the road. Dayton went into VCU and smacked them, crushed them in a revenge spot here at VCU. I'm not going to say Richmond's going to crush VCU tonight, but I do think they get the win, and I'll grab the points.
Do you want 2.5 at minus 115, or do you want 2 at minus 105?
We'll do 2.5.
All right.
I always like having that loss by 2 as a win, if possible.
Plus 2.5 at minus 115. That's available right now at FanDuel. All right, we got to speed it up. We want to get through all 16 games with Bobano here. We have him for 25 more minutes. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on Pub Sports Radio. We head to the MAC, 7 p.m. Eastern. Marist Red Foxes 11-13, 6-9 in conference at the Siena Saints, 12-9, 9-4 in conference. MVP Arena in Albany, New York. Let's move over to the market that we are dealing with in this spot. We have Siena opening up as 1-point favorites. A hook has been added at a bunch of books. Then we have a total at 133. There's 133.5. There's 132.5, depending on where you shop. Both teams are in the midst of 3-game winning streaks. Marist comes in off their third straight victory, 77-70 at home over Niagara on Monday night as 2-point favorites. Atuka had 20 points. Ricardo Wright added 19 points and 6 boards. Siena comes in off a 76-75 overtime win at Ryder as 2-point dogs. Anthony Gaines goes for 17 and 11. Jared Billups adds 13 and 10 for the Siena Saints. Bobano, take it away. Marist, Siena.
Yeah, it's going to be a very good basketball game here, I think, with these two teams, because Marist is playing a lot better of late. You look at recent games they've played. They're playing better. This is the best. We always thought of Marist as a bottom feeder, and this is a conference I follow very close. I've done well in the Metro Atlantic over years in terms of one of my favorite mid-major. It's terrible basketball, to be quite honest, but it's good for betting. That's the way I always see it, because I've done well with it. But Marist is playing well. They're playing much better than they have in recent years, but they never win at Siena. All right. And I think now the betting markets are adjusting to Marist's improvement here, because you've rarely seen Siena laying just a point or a point and a half at home against Marist here in this head-to-head matchup. It is revenge for Marist because they lost at home against Siena earlier this year, but Siena's really playing good as well. I mean, they've been a point spread machine lately. They've been winning games. This is a team that I thought could be one of the top 3-4 teams here in the Metro Atlantic. I have not bet the game because I do like the way Marist is playing, and they are playing with revenge here, but it feels cheap with Siena. You know what I mean? I think the value is with Siena. They haven't lost, I believe, in 8 or 9 years at home to Marist. So I'm off the game, but Siena does feel like they're a little bit cheaply priced.
Interesting. A lot of cappers liking Siena full game, but we have Tease on Marist first half plus 100. Keep an eye on what Tease does. Excellent capper, professional capper. Keep an eye on what he does. All right, let's keep rolling. Next up, we stay in the MAC here. We stay in the MAC for 3 more, or the Metro Atlantic for 2 more games, and then we head over to the MAC. Sorry. Okay, so let's go. Metro Atlantic, St. Peter's Peacocks is next up for us. At Fairfield Stags, Webster Bank Arena, Bridgeport, Connecticut. St. Peter's comes in off their second straight loss, 70-61 at home to Iona as 4.5-point dogs. Let's see what we are dealing with here in this spot. Fairfield opening up as a 1-point favorite. There are a couple pick'ems at Sports Interaction and Bodog. Fairfield opening up at -1 at -103. So there has been a 10-cent move at Pinnacle on Fairfield. Casey Nadefo led the Peacocks with 16 points in that 70-61 loss. Fairfield had their modest 2-game winning streak snapped in a 74-67 loss at home to Manhattan as 5-point favorites in a Wednesday matinee this week. 6'9" sophomore Supreme Cook led the way with 17 points. He looks very good out there. St. Peter's, Fairfield, take it away.
So I hope this is not St. Peter's going into a funk here or going into a free fall, but I'm going to buy low on them tonight as a small road underdog at Fairfield. I like St. Peter's. This will be an official play, +1, +1.5. They lost to Ryder at home, 58-49. We'll get to Ryder in a second. Ryder's on the storm. Ryder is on the storm. They're starting to play a lot better right now. They lost to them. They lost to Iona, 70-61, the best team in the conference their last game. I think it's a get-right spot here for St. Peter's. They've actually got the extra day of prep. They played on Tuesday. Fairfield played on Wednesday against Manhattan, lost 74-67. And you look at Fairfield as home favorites. They've been dreadful, absolutely awful as home favorites. Siena, they were home favorites. They lost the game outright. Quinnipiac, home favorites, lost the game outright. Canisius, 5.5-point home favorites. They won by 4 in overtime. And Canisius, one of the worst teams in the conference, 4.5-point home favorites against Manhattan in their last game. They lost the game outright. I love the defense we can get from St. Peter's right now. They're one of the better defensive teams in this conference. Yeah, offense can kind of be hit or miss for them. We've seen that now the last couple games, but I think this is a game that they can get. And they haven't played Fairfield since Fairfield knocked them out, upset them. 6.5-point dogs. Fairfield upset St. Peter's in the MAC tournament last year in March, 52-47. A St. Peter's team that thought they were good enough to maybe win that conference tournament. I think they earned some redemption here and get the win. So I'll take St. Peter's with the 1.5.
So you would prefer like a plus 1.5 at -111 rather than a plus 102 money line?
You know what? We'll do money line. Again, it's just I think they win the game, so we'll take that shot. I'll be so infuriated if they lose by 1, but I'll take that chance they don't.
There you go. St. Peter's plus 102. The Peacocks. You mentioned Ryder Bronx. Let's get into it. 10-14 on the year, 6-8 in conference against Monmouth Hawks. 16-9, 8-6 in conference. We're at the Ocean First Bank Center in West Long Beach, Jersey for this. Let me move over back to the market that we are dealing with in this Ryder spot. And God, another game that isn't listed here. Oh, there it is. Sorry. Monmouth opening up as 8.5-point favorites. That's dropped quickly. Pinnacle's all the way down to 6. Other books at 6.5. This total opens up at 136. We see 136.5, 137, even a 138 out there. Ryder comes in off having their 4-game winning streak snapped in a 76-75 home loss in overtime versus Siena as 2-point favorites. Mervyn James had 15, Powell 14, Jeremiah Pope had 12. Monmouth comes in off their second loss in 3 games, 70-62 at Iona as 8.5-point dogs. They out-rebounded Iona 43-31, but turned the ball over 20 times. You turn the ball over 20 times, you lose. Ryder, Monmouth, take it away.
I'm on the points here with Ryder. Ryder's on the storm. Ryder, yep, plus 6.5. I still like it at the current number. I got 8.5, but again, I'll keep it. I think it's a close. I think Ryder could win the game. Monmouth's been very, very erratic. They've been hard to figure out. They really have. And you talk about a team that's been kind of overvalued. Monmouth's only 3-4 against the spread in their last 7 conference games. They've struggled. They're off a loss against Iona. They've been good as short favorites. They've been good as dogs. But you look at Monmouth laying 7 points or more, and keep in mind they were laying 7 points or more when this line opened last night. 7-point favorite against Marist, lose outright. 7-point favorite against Fairfield, win by 3. 8-point favorite against Niagara, lose in overtime. 11.5-point favorite against Canisius, maybe the worst team in the conference. They only win by 5. And look at the head-to-head. This is a pretty good rivalry here, Ryder and Monmouth. These are 2 teams that don't really like each other too much. It's been nothing but close games. Going back to 2019, we had a 4-point Monmouth win. Ryder won by 9. A 6-point Monmouth win. Ryder won by 12 after that. Last year, Monmouth in overtime, 77-74. And then in the second meeting, 65-62, a 3-point win for Monmouth. It's been one tight game after another. And I think Ryder's current form, quite honestly, can play with Monmouth and take this game at least down to the wire and maybe even take the game outright. Give me Ryder here.
Ryder plus 6.5 at -111. Dennis Garcia says, sing, Bobano, sing. You got to come to San Antonio. If you want to watch our guy Bobano not only sing, but freestyle, but MC for us. You got to come to San Antonio for that. Okay, we're going to keep rolling. Next up, Ohio Bobcats, 22-4, 13-2 in conference against the Kent State Golden Flashes, 16-9, 11-4 in conference. We are in Kent, Ohio for this one. This one's going to be fun. Kent opening up as -1-point favorites. That's moved to 1.5 and 2 at Pinnacle. This total opened up at 134. It's up to 137 and 134.5. It's up to 137.5. Ohio has bounced back from just their 4th loss of the season 10 days ago, 77-62 at Toledo, by winning 3 straight. They come in off a 91-78 victory at home over Miami of Ohio as 10-point favorites. Ben Vanderplas had a career-high 30 points, 9-12 shooting, grabbed 10 boards, but Kent State is rolling. They come off their 7th straight win, 72-59 at Toledo is 9-point favorites. Sincere Carey is carrying the load for this team. 23 points last out. Take it away, Bobano. Ohio, Kent State.
Yeah, it's a great game. Great game in the MAC, not the Metro Atlantic, the Mid-American Conference, the other MAC. Great game. I mean, Kent State's on fire right now. I'm not stepping in front of Kent State at home. And in a pick-em price range, they've been phenomenal. They've won 7 in a row, 6-0-1 against the spread. You could say early on, Bowling Green, Western Michigan, Miami O, Eastern Michigan, Bowling Green. But, you beat Akron, you crushed Toledo on the road. Now you're starting to show me something. No, they're playing great basketball. Can they handle business here against Ohio, though? That's the big question. It is revenge for Kent State. They lost to Ohio 80-72 in Athens on January 7th. Ohio's a very good basketball team. They're very good inside out balance on this team. Mark Sears, Michael Brown, and of course the star of the team, Ben Vanderplas. I mean, this guy is so much fun to watch. He's one of those stretch fours. He can kick it. He can kick it down low. He can be a beast in the low post. He can shoot the 3 ball for a big guy. He's a fun player to watch for this Ohio Bobcats team. Should be a great basketball game. I would only look Kent, revenge on their side. They're a red-hot point spread team. They're a machine right now. I lean to Kent. Not sure I'll pull the trigger on that. I will pull the trigger on the over here. I agree with this number going up. Both of these teams are feeling it offensively. Ohio's good usually for mid-70s, if not 80s. You look at what Kent's been doing lately. They've been putting up big points. You should get a little bit of pace, and more than anything, you've got a series history, 5-1 to the over the last 6 head-to-head meetings with these two teams. So I think over the total will be the official play, and a smaller lean for Kent State.
And it's 137.5 that we are dealing with here. At least it's a minus 108 over at Pinnacle. If anybody can find better for Bobano, let me know. We're in business. Let's keep rolling. 5 games left, 15 minutes to work with, 14 minutes to work with. Next up, we head to the SEC, 7 p.m. Eastern. Missouri Tigers, 10-15, 4-8 in conference. At Mississippi State Bulldogs, 14-11, 5-7 in conference. Humphrey Coliseum in Starkville, Mississippi. Let's see what we have for a market in this one. We have Mississippi State opening up at minus 10.5, now minus 11. This total opened up at 135, now 134s, and 134.5s on the board. Missouri comes in off their second loss in 3 games, 76-57 at home to Arkansas at 7.5-point dogs. Javon Pickett led Missouri with 13 points. DeJuan Gordon added 11. They have no point guard, and now they rank next to last in the SEC, 293rd in the nation in assist-to-turnover ratio. It's a glaring problem. Mississippi State comes in off their 4th straight loss, 80-75 at Alabama as 6-point dogs. Iverson Molinar led the Bulldogs with 22 points and 4 assists. DJ Jeffries, Cam Carter each had 15. It was late in the game when the tides turned. Alabama outscored Mississippi State 69 in the final 7 minutes, 4-point deficit into a 5-point win. And that was the road game against a ranked opponent. So one of the last opportunities for Mississippi State to get a big win that would impress the NCAA tournament selection committee. Maybe it's time to let go of tournament hopes. Take it away, Bobano, Missouri, Mississippi State.
I'm actually going to do it here. I'm going to go with a split bet here. Mississippi State -6 first half. Mississippi State -11 full game in this one. This has to be a put the boots to them type of spot for Mississippi State. And look, this isn't going to help Mississippi State's tournament hopes if they win this game, because beating Missouri at home is not going to move the needle, because they're just a horrible team, Missouri. But they've had the gauntlet lately. Mississippi State's last 4 games, they've lost them all, but Arkansas, Tennessee, LSU, Alabama. It's about as difficult as it gets in terms of a quartet. You talk about a step down in class, this is it. And the one thing about Mississippi State is their home record's been good. When they faced inferior teams at home, they've crushed them. They beat South Carolina by 14 on this floor. They beat Ole Miss by 18 points on this floor. I think they just waxed Missouri. Missouri got absolutely crushed by Arkansas, 76-57 at home in their last game. They were never in the game. Even Vanderbilt beat them by 8. At Vanderbilt earlier this year. They lost by 17 at Iowa State, lost by 10 at Alabama. They've had some ugly road performances, Missouri. It's not easy to trust Mississippi State because this team plays some silly basketball at times. Bad shot selection. The defense comes and goes, but this is a game where they've got to put their foot on the throat of a really bad team. So I'll split it up. First half, full game on the Bulldogs.
I like it. I like it. Question: Do you I can get you -11 and -109, but for the first half, do you want -6 and -114, or -6.5 at -104?
We'll do -6.
-6 at -114. All right, great breakdown, Bobano. Fascinating. And by the way, Kyle Hintley and making big boy bets, and he is on Purdue Fort Wayne. Purdue Fort Wayne, and yeah, it's my bad, Dan Kelly, for calling the Metro Atlantic the MAC. That was my fault. Okay, let's go. 8 p.m. Eastern, Purdue, Fort Wayne, Mastodon, 16-10, 11-6 in the Horizon. At Green Bay, Phoenix, 4-21, 3-13 at the Horizon. Crest Event Center in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Purdue, Fort Wayne, opening up as 5-point favorites. A few books have added the hook. Some are still hanging the 5. The total opening up at 130. It's gone up to 131.5 or 132.5. Purdue, Fort Wayne comes in off their 5th straight win. A wild 102-98 triple overtime victory on Monday at home over Cleveland State as 2-point dogs. Senior Jalen Pipkins went for 27 in the big win. Green Bay comes in off their 8th straight loss. 54-44 at Milwaukee on Sunday as 5-point dogs. They shot just 26% from the field, 22.7% from 3. Are you surprised Purdue Fort Wayne is only 5-point favorites on the road here, Bobana?
A little bit, but a little bit in this game. I mean, Green Bay is not backable for me at the moment. They're on a dreadful run. Dreadful. I mean, 8 straight losses for this team, covered just twice during that time. And a lot of these losses have been double-digit losses. At Milwaukee, Wright State at home, Purdue Fort Wayne, IPFW already beat them 71-55 earlier this year. This is not a revenge spot that I like. You know, I always say revenge spot, and I pay attention to them, but I say when the better team won the first game, the significantly better team, then they're probably going to win the second game as well. So for me, it's a pass because you're right. The line feels like it's shorter than it should be, but I would only look to Purdue Fort Wayne. So we can move on.
See, I thought this was going to be a much bigger spread and that maybe we could take advantage of PFW off of that triple overtime game, and we can't. And now we deal with the same thing in the next spot here in the Horizon, Cleveland State Vikings, who are also off of that triple overtime very tight loss. At Milwaukee Panthers, who are 9-18 but 7-11 in conference. We're at the Panther Arena in Milwaukee, Wisconsin here. Cleveland State opening up as 6.5-point favorites. This total opening up at 1 and no change. This total opening up at 138. It's gone up a half point to 138.5. Cleveland State had 7 scores in double digits, but they turned the ball over 24 times. And I know that game went into triple overtime, so it's basically, a little over. I was going to say 5 quarters, but but Milwaukee comes in off their 2nd straight win, 54-44 at home over Green Bay on Sunday. Donovan Newby came off the bench to score 17. DeAndre Golston, 12 and 8. And Moses Bowl came in and blocked 5 shots. What do you think here, Bobano? I'm surprised that Milwaukee is a bigger dog than Green Bay is. That surprises me. What do you think here? Take it away.
So we have a track record, and I like Cleveland State in this conference. I think they are a team that can absolutely win the conference tournament. Although this is one of those, the Horizon League is one of those conference tournaments every single year, Jimmy, where you have to expect chaos because there are so many years where a lower seed in that conference tournament will win it. Having said all of that, I think Cleveland State's got as good a chance as anybody to win this conference. I like what they've done. They are a great offensive team and an equally good defensive team. Dennis Gates is a terrific coach. I think Dennis Gates is going to get a bigger coaching program look at some point after being with Cleveland State and doing a good job here. And the one thing we have seen, Jimmy, for Cleveland State is repeatedly this year, after a loss, you don't want to step in front of them. They have been very good off a loss. Very, very good off a loss. Now, and it is revenge for Milwaukee. They lost February 6th, 84-71 to Cleveland State. But you look at this track record in conference play for Cleveland State off a loss. They have not only bounced back the next game, they've been terrific. They lost to Oklahoma State. They bounced back. They beat Purdue Fort Wayne. They lost to Oakland. They bounced back. They beat Detroit. They lost to Northern Kentucky. They crushed Green Bay in the next game. They lost to UIC. It was a shocking loss as 10-point favorites. And they destroyed Purdue Fort Wayne 83-45 in the next game. So when they've lost their previous game, we've gotten the best out of Cleveland State. So it's not a game I bet, but it would be road favorite for me if I were to get involved.
Exciting breakdown. We have another big game in the Horizon, and then the Maryland-Nebraska game in Big Ten, and that is all 16 NCAA basketball games. We have hit 150 likes as well, so the parlay taint play of the day will be delivered at the end of the show. Shout out to Matty Ice. 9 p.m. Eastern. Next up, Wright State Raiders 15-12, 12-6 in the horizon. At Oakland Golden Grizzlies 18-8, 11-4 in the horizon. We're at the Athletic Center Arena in Rochester, Michigan. Let's see what we are dealing with here. We have Oakland opening up at -4.5. There now 4 is on the board. This total opening up at 148. We see a 146.5 and 145s. So interesting there. Wright State comes in off their second straight loss, 75-71 at home versus Northern Kentucky on Sunday as 6-point favorites. They allowed the Norse to shoot 58% from the field. They were down 12 points at the half. They put up 49 points in the second half. That's the most they've scored in the half all year, but it wasn't enough. Grant Basile had 25 points and 9 boards. Calvin had 13.6 boards, 5 steals. Tanner Holden had 13 points. Oakland comes in off their second straight win, 75-59 at home over Detroit as 7.5-point favorites. Senior Jamal Cain went for 32 points and 12 boards, and junior point guard Jalen Moore went for 13 points, 11 assists, 7 boards. They work very well together. Take it away here, Bobano. Wright State, Oakland.
So I like Oakland here, -4, and they're betting Wright State. And people are intrigued by Wright State because they are one of the top teams in this conference. So is Oakland, by the way. These are 2 of the top, I would say, 3 teams in the conference, the Horizon League. This, to me, is meaningful revenge because Oakland had the lead most of the way earlier this year at Wright State. And then in the last 8 minutes of the game, they scored 1 point the rest of the way. 1 point. They were up, I believe, 57-53 at one point in that game, and they ended up losing 65-54. It was an unbelievable, the offense just couldn't operate down the stretch in that game. 75-64 at end. Yeah, they scored basically 1 point the rest of the way, Oakland. And Wright State ended up carrying the game away with that 11-point win at home. Now it's the shoe on the other foot. I think Oakland can get them here. The one thing about Wright State is they've been susceptible on the road at times. They beat Green Bay on the road. They beat UIC on the road. Big deal. The better teams on the road, they lost by 10 to Northern Kentucky, who are red hot in this conference right now, and they lost to Milwaukee as 9-point favorites in their last road game. So I think this is a great Oakland spot. They're off back-to-back wins against Bobby Moe, Robert Morris in Detroit, playing with revenge. Greg Campy is one of my favorite coaches in this in the sport, to be quite honest with you, not just the Horizon League. He's done a great job year after year with Oakland. There's been some years Oakland's been terrible all year. They get into the conference tournament and they go on a run. That's how good Campy is as a coach with this team. You look at Oakland in terms of their numbers. In fact, their conference numbers, they're the better defensive team. Wright State's terrific offensively, but I'll take, especially at home, a team that's second in the conference in defensive efficiency. Contrast that to Wright State. They're only 7th in the conference here in defensive efficiency. So Oakland's had the better numbers at that end of the floor here in conference play. You're only laying 4 at home. I know there's some people liking Wright State, and I get it. It's always intriguing to see a team that's one of the better teams getting points as an underdog. But I think they're getting points for a reason. I think this is Oakland at home bouncing back. I like the Golden Grizzlies -4.
-4 at -107 available at Circa. J. Anthony Martinez in the chat says, new to this channel, and I'm liking what I'm hearing so far. Thank you for joining us. One more game here of the slate of 16 in college basketball. We have Bobano joining us here on Pub Sports Radio, 9 p.m. Eastern. We head to the Big Ten. Maryland Terrapins 11-14, 3-11 in conference. The Nebraska Cornhuskers 7-18, just 1-13 in conference. We're at Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln. Let's see what we are dealing with here. We have, is it not? Man, it just can't. Okay, I'm going to switch over to the Action Network and see what they are.
2-point road favorites, Maryland, 145.5, 146 the total. So
yeah, 145 opening up at 146. And has there been any kind of market move here on this? Quickly check this out. Not really. At a couple books, it's gone from 1.5 to 2 for the Terrapins. Maryland comes in off their 5th straight loss, a heartbreaking 62-61 setback at then number 3, now number 5 ranked Purdue on Sunday as 16.5-point dogs. And they also did it without Eric Ayala. I always
Eric Ayala. There you go.
Ayala, thank you.
Eric Ayala.
He was out with a wrist injury, and he's averaging 15.1 points per game. Xavier Green started in his place. After snapping their 10-game losing streak with a 78-65 win at home over Minnesota on February 9th, the Cornhuskers could not make it 2 in a row. They got beaten badly, 98-75 at Iowa as 16.5-point dogs. Derek Walker goes for 14 and 6. Bryce McGowan goes for 11. Eduardo Andre goes for 10. What's Maryland's energy like after almost beating Purdue? Take it away here. Last game on the board, Maryland, Nebraska.
I just realized when I made that alarming sound noise just now, I sounded like Yoko Ono from that Beatles documentary on Apple TV. She's doing all those noises. I'm in love with lovely Johnny. I mean, geez, she drives you nuts on that Yoko Ono, man.
I wouldn't
know how
but
John put up with her. But
that's not a commercial for the fucking documentary that I'm going to go check out. I can promise you I won't watch that. But beautiful rendition, Bobano. Take it away here, Bobano. Last game on the board, Maryland, Nebraska.
Yeah, I like points here. I think that's the bet to make is over the total here in this one. So in this game, I mean, Nebraska's a horrible defense. What are they giving up? 82 points per game in Big Ten play. They just gave up 98 to Iowa on the road, 98-75. This is a tricky – Maryland is the better team, but Ayala's questionable, so he may not play again. We'll see if he's in there. Maryland is the better team. They should win, but Nebraska finally won at home. They finally won a game, period, and it was at home, their last home game against Minnesota. And actually at home, they've been competitive. They nearly beat Rutgers at home. They covered against Wisconsin at home. They covered against Indiana and Illinois at home. Nebraska's been better at home. They've been more competitive at home. This is just, I don't trust Maryland. I don't want to back Nebraska either. I just want to back points in this game. I think you'll see it on both sides. Obviously, Nebraska plays extremely fast. I believe number one in the Big Ten in terms of pace and tempo and possessions per game. Don't trust them defensively. Maryland, to me, they've kind of played with a little bit more pace, I guess, just slightly under Danny Manning compared to Mark Turgeon before he stepped down. And I think you're going to see two teams that both feel like they're going to come into this game saying we can win this game. Now, Maryland is off a crushing loss to Purdue. They gutted it out. They gave it their all, and they lost. I'm worried about that here. But they might come into this game saying, hey, we finally have a team we can beat. And certainly Nebraska is going to come into this team saying, hey, this is a winnable game for us. So I think it shows offensively because that's the strength for both of these teams. Neither of these teams are good defensively. I like over the total.
And we can get you a 145.5 at minus 109 over at Circa. Bobano, what a treat to cap with you. I'm going to review all of Bobano's action here with you, but Bobano's got to leave. He's stuck around for a couple minutes extra. Thank you for doing that. We'll review Bobano's college basketball action. We'll go over both of our NHL action. We also will tell you the parlay taint play of the day, and Jose Bouquet has a say hey play today for the Saturday skills competition. Bobano, thank you for rolling with us. We have Ian Cameron here now every Friday on Betting with the Bag. You can follow him on Twitter at Bobano, and he is the star of tomorrow's NCAA morning show. Does that break off at 10 a.m. Eastern, Bobano?
Yeah, 10 a.m. Eastern. It starts on Saturday with me, Connor Mack. Maxwell Smart will join us for a period. He usually joins us in the second hour of the show at 11 a.m. Eastern, especially to give – mostly he looks at the added board, the extra board games. So join us tomorrow morning, Saturday morning college basketball net profit show. Me, Connor, and Maxwell Smart. We're actually hoping to have our good friend, our fellow Northeastern alum, Matt Janning, on the show in the next coming weeks as well,
really?
Which would be absolutely phenomenal. So looking forward to that as well. So great stuff, Jimmy. It's good to be back with you on Fridays.
Much love, Bobano. There he is. Straight out of Hamilton. Crazy motherfucking name, Bobano. All right, let's review Bobano's action here in college basketball. And this is what we got. We broke down all 16 games. He opens his card with Butler +8 at minus 115 on the road in the Big East at St. John's. Then a question mark beside Princeton for me, and a question mark on the under in Penn Yale. But the next move for Bobano is the over 146 in Cornell, Dartmouth. The over 146 again in Columbia, Harvard. Then Northern Kentucky, the North Kentucky Norse at plus 104. That's also Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play today. And Matty Ice is also on that as well. Northern Kentucky Norse at Detroit Mercy Titans. Then Richmond plus 2.5. Spiders, Rams action in the A10. Maris Sienna, he is off, but he gets back in action with St. Peter's plus 102 in the Metro at Fairfield. Ryder plus 6.5 at minus 111 is his next spot. That's at West Long Branch, New Jersey against the Monmouth Hawks. He's also on the over 137.5 in Ohio, Kent State. Then he doubles up on Mississippi State. First half minus 6, full game minus 11 at home against Missouri in the SEC. Then he stays off PFW Green Bay. He stays off Cleveland State Milwaukee. He moves back on Oakland minus 4 at minus 107. And he closes up his shop with the over 145.5 in Maryland, Nebraska at Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln. There you have it. That is Bobano's action. Now it is time to release the Taint play of the day. Taint was off an easy winner yesterday in the UMKC North Dakota. He was on the over 140.5, and it cashed with aplomb. Shout out to Taint. Taint play of the day here is a parlay, a money line parlay. Oakland IPFW. Oakland IPFW money line parlay equals a plus 110. Love that. Satsi just confirming Ottinger in net for the Stars. I mean, they would have to all give their head a shake if they did not have Ottinger in net there after that 46 save performance. You got to get him rolling. You got to get him rolling. All right, so there is the 16-game slate in NCAA basketball. Now we move on to the Say Hey play of the day in the Saturday skills contest, of which I will be live for. I'll be live for drinking heavily and betting on three-pointers and dunk machines. We've already talked about Jalen Green going from plus 200 down to plus 140, now back up to plus 180. Obi Toppin now plus 180 with them. And Say Hey, 93 and 90, plus 13.56 units. ROI plus 7.41%. Average line plus 172. Please welcome to the show the pride of Venezuela. Please welcome Jose Bouquet. Jose, how are you?
Jimmy, I'm doing okay. I think it's time to, I don't know, I'm addicted to these events. I just want to sprinkle the board a little bit and just throw out a bunch of plays. So I have 5 plays for you today.
Jesus, all official?
Yeah, of course.
Oh my good God.
I'm not a bitch. I don't make unofficial plays. Come on.
All right. Some very interesting news came in last night about our Jose Bouquet's life. Some news that caught me by surprise. Now, I love what he did last night. I love the man. I've grown to love Jose. He took his girl out last night on what I would deem a perfect night. They start at the rodeo. They end up at the Ludacris concert. They go from rodeo to Ludacris concert. And all I have to say is respect. What caught me by surprise, though, Jose, that was your that was Baby Boy's first ever concert.
Yes,
your first ever concert in your entire life.
Yes, it was. First time. I've never been to a concert, music festival, anything of that sort. I don't know why, particularly. I just don't like music that much. And I'm a cheap bastard, I guess. I don't want to shell out the money to go watch these people. But $30 for Ludacris? Sure. I did not, Jimmy. One of my main takeaway was I did not expect it to be so lewd. Just the camera just pan around, seeing all these women fucking half naked, just grinding on each other. I'm like, what are we? This is the AT&T Center. I didn't know this turned into a nightclub. But shout out to Ludacris.
I respect that. J. Anthony Martinez says it's Jose from San Antonio. You're damn right. He's from San Antonio. We're all going to be in the great city of San Antonio here at the end of March. Jose's first concert, Ludacris. Luda.
Yeah, I didn't expect. Crystal Warren's right, by the way. Who would have thought that Ludacris would go to the rodeo? And I don't know. It just a shocking turn of events. My night became.
Okay, we are. Yes, we have dropped. Taint play today is in. It is a money line parlay that we just spoke of. Oakland IPFW money line parlay, and Dennis Garcia says he's been less than 3 concerts. Well, I guess that leaves that to our imagination to guess if that's 1 or 2. Okay, 5 spots on the board here for you to attack in the skills contest. And the All-Star game, I imagine, what are you focusing on?
No 3-point and dunky dunks.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, let's start with the 3-point contest because that has some big lines out here, and I'm very excited about it. And we got Fred VanVleet. There's been a lot of market movement here. Wow. Luke Kennard has gone now. This is at FanDuel. Luke Kennard has gone from plus 650 down to the co-favorite of plus 450. So a big move for Luke Kennard. That's pushed Fred VanVleet back to 500. Wow. So a big move on Luke Kennard. Everything else is pretty much the same. But Trae Young has gone from plus 450 up to plus 550. And then we have McCollum 950 and Cat 1200. We'll have to pull out a couple different books, but get started, Jose. Official plays for the 3-point contest.
Well, I'll start by saying the odds above me are from Bodog, and obviously Bodog is not doing a good job giving out these odds. But we'll start. I'm starting with the hometown child, like you guys said the other day. CJ 2K. I'll take McConnell. I like that home cooking. I also will take Patty Mills, former San Antonio Spur, and I will also take the long shot as well. Karl Anthony Towns at plus 1,200, whatever you want to talk about. Now, I'll start with the Karl Anthony Towns. I just think first of all, he's the best shooting big of all time right now. Career-wise, he's got one of the best career 3-point shooting percentages. I think if you are a big that joins the 3-point contest, you have to have a lot of confidence coming into that. And you got to know, you can't embarrass yourself essentially. So I think he goes in there and I think he has a good performance, and at plus 1,200 or whatever, he gets to the second round. I'm feeling okay about that. I also said CJ. I don't really have to talk about that because you guys said it earlier this week. Hometown boy now playing in Cleveland. I just like those vibes, and he's the second longest shot odds on Bovada. You might have something different. I had a plus 900. I thought that was pretty crazy. The 2 long shots here, I like rolling the dice with the long shots in these skill competitions just because, at the end of the day, all these guys are really good, and they can just get hot. So I think it's still roll the dice. So give me both of those guys. And then Patty Mills is just a former San Antonio Spur. Great shooter. I'm a little afraid of him being more of a catch and shoot shooter more than a pick up the ball kind of guy. I think the picking up a ball and shooting it like that would benefit people like Trae Young and VanVleet and Levine, who shoot off the dribble. But I just like Patty Mills, so that's my reasoning.
Denkai says, I'm on FanDuel. I don't see these props. Go to NBA, go and then click on All-Star and go down. The funny thing about FanDuel is that they don't have the dunk contest. So I would move to Bet Online or Sugar House or something like that to get those numbers up. I think that 3 is one too many. 3 is one too many players in an 8-person contest. I'm going to stick with 2, but I like McCollum at plus 950. If Cat can win this, I'll be shocked. Ryan Scahill, Jose's units after those Super Bowl bets. He went 4 wins and 8 losses, plus 1.15 units because he cashed on Cooper Kupp plus 550 for the Super Bowl MVP and non-quarterback to win Super Bowl MVP.
That was a lock. That was so easy.
Saturated says his first. We're all talking about our first concerts. Mine was Beach Boys when I was 5. North Ender, Guns N' Roses is 8. That's money. Saturated was Vanilla Ice, MC Hammer, and Jodeci. I saw Hammer when I was 11 in Penticton. Okay, so
I
McCollum
was going to say
950.
something that might have gotten me pulled there, so I'm glad I didn't.
Okay, good. That's good. McCollum, Patty Mills, and Cat. So now do we move over to the dunk comp?
Yes, we do.
And you are using 2 of the 4 players in the dunk comp.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
questionable.
I mean, you have a problem with this, Jim?
No, you're a winning capper. You're a winning capper. You've been excellent. Look, I question your Super Bowl tactics, and they worked out. It was another winning day for you, Jose. So no, absolutely not. You take care of business, man. Let's go.
I thought about that, Jim. I thought about, man, I shouldn't pick all these guys. You know, I said, fuck it, Jim. Again, I'm having an addiction to these competitions, these skills. First of all, Wham truly offended me on Tuesday when he said this. He said that Juan Toscano Anderson has no shot in this. First of all, Wham, fuck you.
Whoa.
Juan Toscano Anderson is a
Whoa.
part of the culture. He's a part of he's one of my cousins, Jim. He is a Mexican American. We're picking him plus 550. I got it at Bovada. Probably better odds somewhere else because Bovada kind of stinks right now, apparently. But I'll take him, no problem. And I'm a square, so I'm taking Jalen Green as well. Obi Toppin's 6'9". Juan Toscano is 6'7". Obi Toppin's not winning this. He's in Cole Anthony fucking is a 6'5" guard. There's no way. Obi Toppin, when he dunked in Dayton, all he did was a little 360 and a between the legs. That's all he's got in his bag. Sorry.
Oh man, Peasy had the best first concert of us all. Too Short, San Jose State, 93.
I don't even know who that is.
Oh no. Okay. We'll go over everything again in a second, James. So we can get you 50 cents better at Bet Online. But what did you get for Jalen Green? Because he's plus 180 at Bet Online earlier today.
Bodog has it at plus 120, which I thought was a little crazy, but it makes a lot of sense because, like I just said, Jalen Green, probably the best dunker in this, the youngest legs, whatever. Obi 6'9" and has 2 dunks. Cole Anthony's not a dunker in my head. And hopefully Juan Toscano reps for the culture and throws a Mexican flag in there and gets 10s because of it.
So we can get you a plus 140 at Bet Online currently. Plus 140 at Bet Online currently. I'm surprised that we can't beat that. I Need Money says Juan Anderson's a Bay Area legend. I thought he was talking about Too Short. Too Short's a Bay Area legend. Ryan Scahill, Megadeth first concert. That's money, man. That's money. Jose doesn't know who Too Short is, but he knows who Vanilla Ice is.
I know one Vanilla Ice song. Let's just be honest.
And I Need Money says check his high school mixtape, EA Area's Finest. I will do that. Okay, there we go. Saturated says someone needs to educate this youngin. I was doing that with through movies until I gave him the wrong movie and it just shut the whole thing down.
I'm down to keep doing it. I was perfectly fine with it. I forgot what the movie was too.
It was the three amigos. I guess I shouldn't have given you 3 white guys doing their take on Hispanic culture.
I mean, I was perfectly fine with it. You know, I do the 3 amigos salute every so often now. You know, and Jim, I was looking through my computer as one does, and I brought up this old gem too. So never forget.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, never forget.
That is an old gem. See, when I look through the old computer, I pull up this old gem. Yeah, and this old gem.
Yeah.
You added a new old gem for us. This is Jose's new one.
Right. I wish I was good at that. I wish I was that good at drawing. But yes, that is. Yeah, DJ. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that obviously that's our favorite.
That's our favorite, yeah.
I mean,
but we need more. We need a database of these old gems.
She's up there.
She parties, man.
She's up there. Oh. I think we find her types in San Antonio sometime.
Oh, she parties. She fucking parties.
Well, maybe if you're from San Antonio, you understand this reference. But when she come down, maybe we'll swing by Sugar's, have a time, see the shark. It'll be a good time. Shout out to DJ.
I'm down. Ryan Kosowski says 40% of these women are probably named Betty.
For the longest time, I told Helga that I would leave her for Betty White in a heartbeat. I'd give Betty White that good loving. R.I.P. to a legend.
As you do. And as you should. All right, we have Jose's 3-point contest looks and dunk comps again. I'm going to be...
Jay Anthony knows. Jay Anthony knows. He knows. Sugars. What about All-Stars, Jim? Sugars or All-Stars? I'll treat you right. Don't worry.
I guess I'm consider me interested. I found myself interested right away.
I think that's the thing I've said most recently that's piqued your interest the most. The bets like and you're like Sugars, huh?
Well, it reminds me of the great Kevin Nealon joke where he said Playboy asked him to review some films and he wasn't really interested in doing it. He didn't really want to do it, and he put the first film in, and he found himself interested right away. Myself more interested, so interested. Suddenly, no interest whatsoever.
Fair enough.
I went and made a sandwich.
Had a
made
smoke.
A phone call. Noticed the film was still on, and I found myself interested again. Okay.
Wait, Tim. I forgot to mention too, Sugars.
Yeah.
$3.99 steak and fries.
Jesus.
I mean, come on.
All right.
Where can you beat it? Can't.
J. Anthony Martinez says Sugar will give you pink eye. Not us, because we have the pink eye genie. We have the pink eye genie who rolls with us, and he spreads pink eye awareness. And when the pink eye genie comes to your strip club, nobody gets pink eye that night. Nobody.
I have watched Bull Durham, just for those out there. Yes, Crystal Warren. I have watched Bull Durham.
All right. That's not how Jose's paying his steaks. That is not how Jose's paying off his steaks.
No, those steaks have to be paid, unfortunately.
Let's make that clear. That's not going to be $3.99 steaks.
But I've got 3 in my pocket. Fuck you, Wham.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pete. I feel bad for taking steaks from Pete. I felt a little bad.
I didn't at all. Okay, let's review all action here. Jose, you have McCollum plus 975, Patty Mills plus 475, Cat plus 1200. Abel A says, I never had pink eye in my life. Of course you haven't, Abel. That's not a claim to fame. None of us have, man.
Cannot say I have either. No. By the way, Jim, we also have to do another reminder at the end of the show.
Yes. San Antonio reminder. WT back in SoCal. Respect. Back from Costa Rica. I like it.
Shout out to Ron Crawford for putting up college baseball plays, Ron. I respect that. A hell of a lot.
That's not a play of the day. CT says, what is pink eye? See, I mean, Abel, it's not something you need to be proud of. It's not something you need to be proud of. Okay, so Jalen Green plus 140 and Juan Toscano Anderson at plus 550. Another situation here, Jose, where I will be gobsmacked if you don't come back down 5 units. Jalen Green, I think Jalen Green will catch for you. So down 3.6.
Well, Jim, imagine, but
all right, there we go. That was Jose Bouquet here joining us, who has been impressive all year long. Let's review action here across the board in NHL. The spreadsheet play of the day is Carolina in regulation. Bobano is also on Carolina in regulation. I'm on the Hurricanes on the -1 line. And that's it. In the Panthers-Minnesota game, I want to see if this line has changed at all. Let me just refresh it here. And it hasn't. Still plus 105 on the Wild. It had gone to plus 110 for a minute. That's plus 105. And Bobano's on the over 6.5 at -125. And this isn't, I have not moved on this game, and I kind of have some interest in the under, but I'm not going to bet it. It's just after breaking it all down, I'm going to stay off of it. Community New Knowledge is on the Florida Panthers money line. So that makes me very nervous. He's running hot. I am on the Dallas Stars and the over. I got plus 100. It's still just at -105. And there's even been a 5-cent move just in the last hour on the Blackhawks. So there we have that. Mr. Newtown Twate Latte said, just did the Pirate season preview. They're the worst team I've ever seen. Well, don't worry. You probably won't have to deal with 162 games of them.
And don't worry, they have to add people in free agency too, Mr. Pussy Coffee. They're a buyer. Come on.
Because are they below the floor?
No, because the Pirates are massive spenders. I mean, Jim, the Pittsburgh Pirates need to win now. That's what they say about him.
He's not helping. He's not helping at all here. So then we have the over and the Stars, and then the Kings interest me. I'm telling you, the Kings interest me. They interest me. Then we get into college basketball, a review of college basketball action. Bobano's on Butler +8 at -115. He's on the over 146 in Cornell, Dartmouth. He's on the over 146 in Columbia, Harvard. He's on North Kentucky +104, as is the spreadsheet play of the day with Ron Crawford. And Matty Ice is on them too. That's not the taint, but he's on them. Richmond +2.5 for Bobano. St. Peter's money line at +102. Ryder at +6.5. The over 137.5 in Ohio, Kent State. He's doubled up on Mississippi State. First half -6, full game -11. Then nothing in the horizon in Green Bay, nothing in Milwaukee. And then he's on Oakland -4 at -107, and the over 145.5 in Maryland, Nebraska. The taint play of the day is Oakland IPFW money line. Oakland money line, IPFW money line, parlayed together at a +110. It was very, very fun week with you guys. The NHL is holding me back. We had a very successful week in NBA, a winning week, a week in the black in college basketball. Not a big week, but I'll be live. You guys want to roll with me for the Saturday skills contest. Thank you guys for everything. We have no show without this great chat. Abel A, Lingo Wick, because he's a winning capper, and that's why Lingo Wick. And I love the kid. Mr. New to Town, Twate Latte, Ryan Kozlowski.
That's a lie, guys. You just heard Jimmy lie to everyone.
No, that's facts. That's facts. Dennis Garcia, Crystal Warren, Community of New Knowledge, Cashman 19, Bananas and Grapes, Tease in the house, Dennis Garcia, I Need Money. That's the name of somebody. That's not just me just breaking down at the end of the show. J. Anthony Martinez joining us for the first time. North Ender, Jay Peasy, Billy Friedrich, Christopher Comentini. Great group. Bananas and Grapes, Dan Kelly. Thank you guys all so much. Ron Crawford, Matty Ice, James Lill. Thank you guys all for your support. Let's have a giant Friday. Let's get that cash. Davidless, Sammy Comer. 25th birthday for Sammy Comer this weekend. Sammy, much love to you, man. Enjoy it. My 25th, when I was 25, that was a great year. That was a really, really great year when I was 25.
As someone that's turning 25 this year, I'd love to figure that out.
It's a great year, at least for me. It all starts falling apart at 26. So enjoy 25. It was an excellent, excellent year. A lot of fun. I love you guys. Let's get that cash. Let's have a big Friday. Let's have a nice weekend. We got NHL and All-Star games, and then we get back to work come Tuesday, baby. On behalf of all of us at Pub Sports Radio, thank you for supporting our channel. It means the world to us. And let's get that cash. San Antonio. We need to do a head count for a couple things. We need to do a head count for the Sweet 16 on the Thursday, the 24th, the first night. We need to do a head count because we're gonna get a suite. We're gonna get a suite. So it's gonna be dope times dope. But we need to know how many people are going to be in this suite. We also need a head count for Spurs Grizzlies on Wednesday, the 30th. We're going to be trying to get that over the next few days, and I will help because I'm going to put together a Twitter chat, which I still haven't done. But I've been very busy.
Do I have to harass you about that?
Well, it's not like I'm just like sitting back, relaxing, smoking blunts, man. This has been a very busy week full of capping.
Okay, well, I'm just asking. I'll harass you to make it. I'll gladly do it. And we also need a head count for the poker tournament. Those who want to play, that would be greatly appreciated as well. Please DM me I wouldn't say DM Jimmy because he's a very busy man, obviously, but DM me and let me know because I'm less busy. Yeah.
Yes, so we need to start doing head counts for all that. Matty Ice is going to try to get down there for the 25th and 26th. Oh, please do, Matty. Please.
And how do you attend, Jimmy? For our man Abel or Jay Anthony?
Oh, Jay Anthony, man, you just come to the Southtown. It all goes down at the Southtown 101. So Thursday night, we're going to the Sweet 16. You're welcome to roll with us there, Jay. But if you want to come to the meet and greet Friday, We're adding a Triple X comedy show to that Sunday after Ritama. There's going to be a lot of we're adding. Yeah, Tease, we're going to get it sweet. We haven't decided what the poker buy-in is yet, Maddie. I can tell you what it's not going to be. It's not going to be $20, some shit like that. We want to make some money while we're down there. The poker game is Saturday night. So, but I'm going to put together a group so we can all talk online. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Let's get that cash. Let's milk these motherfuckers. Leche. Hey, those bookmakers.